Welcome to Between Nerds. This is Kuwabara, and these are your hosts, Aldo Mendes and Drew Elias.
Thank you, Kuwabara, for that solid intro. I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Aldo Mendes, and today, for episode 62?
62, second episode of the third season.
62 of Between Nerds podcast. Yes, for our episode on YuYu Hakusho, season 1, we have a very special guest, Mr. Roby Quintela. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, guys?
We're glad to have you out here finally. You've been a solid listener,
a friend of the podcast,
friend of the pod, and
an official friend now.
Official friend. You chugged the Topo Chico with us. We're officially best friends.
Yes.
Yeah. I was gonna bring tequila, but I thought let's
should have. We were waiting on it, honestly.
I didn't want to make a bad first impression.
It's okay. No, it's okay. I usually make the bad first impressions.
Bad first impressions are the only impressions we know, to be honest.
True. And that's how you get to know the people's real character, you know?
Yeah, and I agree. But at the beginning of this episode, I do want to remind everybody to enter our September giveaway on Twitter or Instagram by using hashtag #DiabeticNerds in an original tweet or Instagram post, to be automatically entered into our September giveaway. And for every like and retweet on Twitter or Instagram, we will be donating to the El Paso Diabetic Association Incorporated.
Hell yeah, guys. Please use the hashtag. We haven't had that much entries on our past two donations.
Yep.
But yeah, and man, what a fucking week. YuYu Hakusho, thank you, Rob, for wanting us to watch this. I had a lot of fun. Honestly, I watched it maybe here and there on live television back in the day, but I could never put anything together.
How were you introduced to YuYu Hakusho?
How was I introduced? That's a great question. I'm pretty sure I was just watching it like on Toonami
Was it on Toonami? I don't even know if Toonami was a thing yet in 1994.
I definitely didn't watch it in 94.
Definitely
definitely not. Maybe like 10, 15 years ago. So I first started watching anime off of, what was a little clip on Toonami that would show anime slots?
Yeah, Toonami.
Yeah,
right?
It was, no. Toonami had like a sub-block of just anime.
At like 1 a.m. or like
of like edgier anime. It was called like...
With Cowboy Bebop, with
Shampoo.
Yeah.
It was like the Adult Swimish version of Toonami.
Correct.
And it had a name and I don't remember what it was.
So I remember I would just stay up super late. I'd watch like Serial Experiments Lane randomly, and I was like, this is the weirdest shit I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And then YuYu Hakusho. And then I'd see random episodes of that, and I was like, hey, this is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, you keep trying to get us to watch fucking Trigun.
Oh, God, I love it. So, like, I'm a big 90s anime fan.
It's the 90s fandom. It's good, and especially talking about YuYu Hakusho.
Yeah.
Because it's aged so well. Like, I was having so much fun watching this shit. Mm-hmm. And, like, just before we started recording, we were talking about how easy to digest 27 episodes of this shit is.
27.
25?
You found 27 episodes for season 1?
Fucking Hulu has 28 fucking episodes.
Funimation had 25.
Funimation and Hulu, they have different like endings for the season 1, season 2.
Oh, okay. That'll be interesting to find out later on what the difference is.
Yeah, so I watched 28, so I don't know.
Well, I have the poor person Hulu.
Correct.
So like I have the one with commercials. So I was like, this is stupid. I'm not watching it. Like, I jumped onto Funimation and it was 25 episodes.
Yeah, you make a fucking 15-minute episode into like 30-minute episode. With
I'm like, I'm not doing this shit.
Fuck that.
I'm not doing it. But Rob, if I may.
Sure.
The big RO. Can you please describe to me in simple terms, or in like condensed...
In a nutshell.
In a nutshell, thank you. What is YuYu Hakusho?
For you.
For me, so I was actually trying to think of this. I was like, okay, they're going to ask me, what's it about? What am I thinking of? First off, it's just fighting, for sure. Mm-hmm. But then it goes deeper. Like, you get a second chance, and then you owe some debts. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much it. That's like the gist of the whole story.
Honestly, I love that. I do like that a lot.
I was going to bring it up, bro. Like, I never really knew the story or how the plot, like, unfolded on itself. Mm-hmm. The first two episodes, I was fucking kind of crying, bro. Like, I'm watching this, I'm like, oh shit, Arena, what's the Isekai? Arena Isekai? and
he dies the first 10 seconds, and all of a sudden he's transported to another world.
And this guy's a dick. Our main character, Yusuke?
Yusuke Urameshi.
Yusuke
That's why
Urameshi.
it's YuYu.
YuYu. And it's... I guess if we start with the plot, it's this fucking 14-year-old, badass 14-year-old.
Was he 14 or 15?
I think he was 14.
14.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Kuwabara's 15 then. Because one of the or the girl's 15. Because I remember them saying
they're all about the same age, I think.
The girl?
Whatever.
Like Botan?
No.
Oh, Keiko.
Keiko.
Yeah.
One of them's 15. I remember one episode somebody being like, "You're barely 15. You can't be acting like this."
Something like that. Yeah, but really, an asshole of a kid, fucking badass in school. I don't want to do my work. His mom, it's almost like slothish almost.
I think the subtext is that she's an alcoholic,
Yeah.
or she has some kind of substance
depression
problem.
or something like that, because she's always in bed.
She's treating her depression.
Yeah,
too. Like she's always hungover during the day, and then the scenes where you see her like actually have emotions, she's at the bar buying drinks for other girls.
She reminds me of those fucking useless grandpas in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
God, don't get me started. I fucking hate Grandpa Joe.
Yeah, fuck
Don't
him.
get me started. This will fucking ruin my day. Anyway.
It's to Aldo's point about it feeling like an isekai, is that the isekai trope and meme is that every episode starts with like somebody dying and they're transported to another world, right? So, but in YuYu Hakusho, this total asshole who like doesn't show up to class, is always getting into fights, like you almost expect him to start fucking gangbanging and start shooting people, right? he dies on a whim because he's interacting with a child, like a literal like toddler, like a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, and he rescues them from being hit by a truck. And all of the afterlife, like the Grim Reaper herself, Miss Botan, is like, hey dude, you totally weren't supposed to die right now, because nobody in the afterlife in Demon World would have ever suspected that you would have died trying to save somebody else's life.
Correct. Yeah, the afterlife knew about this guy, how much of a big of an asshole he was, that they were like, oh dude, we thought you were gonna die being a dick somewhere else. Mm-hmm. You know, we never expected this from you. And fun fact about Botan, I mean, by the way, like you said before we started the fucking mic, before even Rob got here, this is one of the best girls we've seen in a fucking wild.
Yeah, Botan, blue hair. They once they put her in like a maroon like biker outfit, I'm like, Jesus Christ! Like I need this on a t-shirt immediately. And we haven't had a best girl in an anime like this since like Gurren Lagann, which was like 3 months ago. It was like back in June, maybe even May.
Mm-hmm. But Botan means sleeves in Japanese. So that's why she has those big overgrown sleeves, you know, it's fun.
And she's literally the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, and she's literally the Grim Reaper. Really cute Grim Reaper, brother.
And
even YuYu makes a fucking comment about it. She's like, I thought you were supposed to be in black and have a what do you call it?
A scythe?
A scythe and be a skeleton, whatever. But
yeah, it's just like, no, I'm just a dumb little girl. I'm just here to guard you to the afterlife. And the thing about like these first few episodes, it feels like a whole arc in and of itself, like a beginning and end to an anime. Because in the first 4 or 5 episodes, the story is Yusuke dies. They hold his wake, and this guy that he totally pummels every day, his name's Kuwabara, this guy with this ugly fucking scratchy voice.
Our friend that introduced us in this episode today.
Mm-hmm. So Kuwabara is just this curly-haired ginger that Yusuke fights with every day just in the streets because they're skipping school or whatever, and just being a bunch of assholes. He shows up to Yusuke's wake in tears, like bawling his eyes out,
being held back by his homies.
Like, no, I gotta kick his ass one more time.
You get me dead. You get what? I need to fight you. You better wake up.
Like coming into like a wake, and everybody's like, "Yo, bro, like this is a wake. Like, don't do this. Like right here
inside of a tiny apartment."
And then the fucking teachers, bro.
Yeah,
out of pocket, no pockets. These teachers have no pockets in their outfits because. Fucking mousy looking characters.
Yeah, I think that's the like the visual imagery there. Correct. Like there's some super sussy teachers that like try to set up Yusuke
and Kuwabara.
And they're literally drawn like rats, right? And they're literally meant to be like how if you're this badass that's trying to save the world, because eventually Yusuke turns into the fucking spirit detective, how it's just these adults that don't have anything better to do but torture 15-year-olds.
And it becomes a problem because, well, anyways, in this scene that we're trying to explain, they're at the wake. The teachers are like, "Oh, I'm surprised he didn't die in a gangbang," or some shit like that.
It's just so extra. Like, why even show up?
and what I really like, I mean, the principal's not showed a lot, but the principal comes right behind him. I'm like, what the fuck did you say? Like,
watch your mouth.
Watch your mouth at the wake. And like with your dumbass fucking and by the way, YuYu is looking at all this.
Yeah,
you know, like overhead.
He's a spirit with Botan just hanging in the air, just being like, "Wow, I think it's weird. Everyone gives a shit about me all of a sudden now that I'm dead." Mm-hmm. And Yusuke's alcoholic mother's like crying in the corner at the wake, like, of course she is, she is. Like, and for you to just show up and just start talking shit. Kuwabara should have stuck all these teachers right then.
Right there and then, yeah. And then Keiko was a big thing for YuYu. She was crying. She was like, "No, why?"
Keiko is Yusuke's girlfriend, but not his girlfriend. She's like his best friend from elementary school. She puts up with all his bullshit. Like, the beginning of the episode, in episode 1 of season 1, is Yusuke showing up to school, and he hadn't been there in like couple weeks or something. Like, he just skips and just goes and fucks around in the street and gets in fights with Kuwabara and whatever. And Keiko is like the student council president, which I don't know, Rob, how much anime you've seen, but there's this really funny trope. I almost said annoying, but I don't find it annoying anymore. It's more like funny that in every anime the student council president is meant to be like some kind of badass. Because when I was in high school at Malwood High School just up the street, the student council president was a fucking nerd. So to compare like how anime is portraying like club presidents,
super authority figure,
yeah, just like somebody to look up to how with my American El Paso sensibilities saw everybody in student council. It's like I don't see it. But the I think the contrast they're trying to make there is that the student council president is totally in love with Yusuke. Right. And when Yusuke dies, she takes it the hardest because she's like his informal girlfriend, like at a certain point.
Well, she's making sure like he gets to school on time, that he's like doing his work, so on and so forth.
She presses him about the color of his uniform.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, he flips it inside out. So everyone's wearing blue, and he's the only little asshole wearing green because he's like, well, fuck, I don't come to school anyway. I don't give a shit.
What are they going to do? Kick me out of school? I don't want to be here anyway.
Right.
Yeah. And it's we see the Keiko situation, we see the mom situation, which she got out of bed, you know, like she's out there, you know what I'm saying? She's crying, she actually having some energy to show her feelings about her kid dying. Kuwabara, you know, he's angry because he gets fucking beat up by Yusuke every fucking Sunday. And
I'm sorry, go for it.
Which is like the funniest shit ever because he doesn't even like fight with him. He gets his ass kicked every time.
Yeah, like, I don't think he's landed a hit or anything.
Yeah.
Which is funny because the anime that we're watching this next week is called Fruits Basket. Have you ever seen Fruits Basket?
No, I've heard of a lot of good things about it, but...
Right, but the manga, the light novels were being published around the same time. So you see a lot of similarities between the two, or at least I have so far. I don't know. I got home super tired, started smoking, and like fell asleep watching Fruits Basket. But there's a character in Fruits Basket who's one of like the main characters, who's the exact same character as Kuwabara. Orange hair, always trying to fight the main guy.
Does he have a voice like this?
No, he doesn't have a voice, but he's always getting his ass kicked to the same part. Like, throughout season 1 of YuYu Hakusho, Kuwabara is like totally like the more gifted fighter. Like, he has more spirit energy, he has spirit like awareness, like he just has all this extra shit that makes him feel broken, but he's always the number 2 to Yusuke for no reason.
Yeah, Yusuke's always ridden off a corner, like ridden off like a tight situation.
Right. It's like, oh, I trained my arm and now I'm gonna punch your fucking head off, you're a Meshi. Oh no, I slipped on a banana peel.
Which, I was rewatching this again and I'm just laughing, watching like seasons 2, 3, 4 and then going back to season 1, how like, oh, fucking, there's a little cigarette. That's what helped me win this next fight. Or I slipped and that's how I won this next fight. Or algae got in my ear. That's how I won this next fight. And Korobaru's just like, here's my spirit sword. I win.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's a great dynamic of an anime.
Yeah.
Like it feels like we're making fun of it, but it's really good to see. It's really good to digest. It's so simple, but like the animation, again, I believe that this anime...
It's almost held up, to be honest.
It's
for a 90s anime, it looks pretty good.
It looks really good. The animation, the intro song...
It's just music.
Yeah, it's just good. It's.
I didn't like the music. It was too 90s for me. Like I get it. Like I understand. It's a period piece. I understand.
That's what I thought at first with the first episode, and then I started like leaving the opening on. I was like, okay, like I'm just like vibing to it. It's fucking cool. It was cool. It all fits together very nicely.
What I love about it too is that probably one of the best anime and manga publications in the past 20 years is Hunter x Hunter, right? Which is the exact same author as YuYu Hakusho. Have you seen Hunter x Hunter?
That's next up on my list to watch.
I don't know how you haven't. That's the kind of thing that like once you start, it's like 4 or 5 seasons, you're gonna finish almost immediately. Like that's one of those things that you pick up and just will not put down, because Hunter x Hunter is just like a perfectly like realized version of YuYu Hakusho. And YuYu Hakusho is not bad. Like it reminds me of JoJo's almost, because our last episode with Death Note, we shit on Death Note for like 2 hours, right? And we tried our best not to. And like it'd be really easy not to shit on it if it didn't take itself seriously. It's like when I'm at Yu-Gi-Oh! Locals and somebody gets one good win and he thinks he's got the swag, right? He thinks he's got it. And then like I'm like, oh, now I have to pick on you. Like, do you see what you did? Now I have to bully you. Like, why
did you see what you made me do?
Yeah, like why did you? I didn't want to be a bad guy today. I didn't want to be the villain.
I'm gonna make you cry.
Yeah, now I have to make you cry. Like, why'd you do that?
Acting like Bobby Brown. Like, do you see what you made me do?
Exactly. So like, I'm watching Death Note, and like it takes itself too seriously. Like, if it took itself like half an inch like less seriously, I'd be like, okay, this is fine. Whatever. I understand what it's trying to accomplish. I get it. Yu Yu Hakusho, like, it's goofy. It tells you straight up that it's goofy. The main character is always just talking smack, like, for no reason.
And they throw bitch bombs. They throw asshole bombs. They're like, we're edgy, bro.
You need to worry about your mother. I don't care about that bitch. Oh, he said.
And to your point that you say, like, it's... I believe that with the success of YuYu, we got what we deserve with Hunter x Hunter.
Right.
I believe that it would have been the other way around. We could have seen a more expanded world on YuYu Hakusho.
No, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? More because Hunter x Hunter, they have an entire season of just explaining you the power system. And it's great. And I feel like we could have probably seen something like that with this.
Yu Yu Hakusho has like the Dragon Ball mentality for it. For it's like his energy power is bigger than mine. Yeah. the power of friendship led him to bigger powers, which isn't bad.
With the energy system, you know, listening to you guys' past episodes and like, you know, always bring it up. I actually really like this one just because it's like there's spirit energy, there's demon energy. That's it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That's it. Like super simple. You're either stronger or you're not. And I thought that was awesome just because it was so easily digestible and you didn't have to think about it. The writers didn't put themselves in too much of a corner. Like, once somebody got too strong, it's just like they just got stronger without having to go above and beyond.
Have you ever watched JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
Yeah.
Okay, you have. So, the thing about...
Hamon can be anything, which is...
Yeah, the thing about Araraki when it comes to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is, like, he would come up with, like, a character and, like, a power before he would come up with, like, the solution. So, like, he's like, I have this great idea for this character and this power. And then, like, the actual character... And then I read the manga for Part 6, right? Stone Ocean, that's coming out in December on Netflix. It's hard to read because it's like... Holy shit, he just made that up on the spot. Like, week to week, holy shit, he just made that up. Yu Yu Hakusho, even though it's a Shonen Jump publication, it still feels like he went into a situation with, like, a plan.
A plan, yes.
Which helps so much for the narrative.
Mm-hmm. But, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, well, all I was going to say, because, like, normally if there's just something like in JoJo's, it'd be like a made up power I've never revealed before, which is your exact weakness, and I waited this second to use it on you. In Yu Yu Hakusho, it's like a mirror in the background, and I gotta bounce my laser beam off of it to shoot you in the back when you weren't paying attention. Which is like he totally thought about that beforehand, which feels smarter than half of Death Note.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. And if we unpack the story a little bit more, he's dead. Botan is telling him, "Hey, man, we don't have the space at you in heaven. Heaven is booked up right now. You weren't supposed to die right now. We are gonna give you a second chance."
Basically, like, you fucked up. You were too nice.
Yeah.
Nobody expected this.
Nobody planned for you, bro.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious because everyone, like, in the afterlife, they're like, "Oh man, we didn't see this.
Imagine that was real life. Like, you die and then you come back and you're like, "Dad, they didn't have a spot for me yet."
Which that's like the one part in the story that I don't get. It's he dies. They have his wake. They're totally about to bury him, and they're like, "Oh wait, he has a very faint heartbeat. We can't bury him yet." So you had the wake while he had a pulse, and then now you're barely considering not burying him.
Good thing they didn't cremate the guy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, holy fuck. So, it's sussy that's the logic in there, because it's like, oh my god, they're totally going to cremate you in 2 weeks. So now the narrative gives you a timeline. It's like your Meshi has 2 weeks to prove himself to the leader of the underworld, Mr.
Little baby guy.
Koenma.
Oh god.
Yeah. He Koenma as a character is hilarious, and it's so 90s and so like Hunter x Hunter. I see so much of Hunter x Hunter in it.
It just reminds me of like Kami, the blue guy from Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Well, Koenma is a 2 foot tall
Baby.
toddler with a binky and like this big goofy hat, but he's got a full set of teeth. Like, he's a grown man who's just 2 feet tall.
Well, have you guys seen the rest of the seasons or anything?
I've seen most of season 2's the Spirit Tournament, right?
Right.
I've seen most of season 2. I've not seen anything after that.
So, not to get too far ahead, but the little pacifier actually has like a ton of power in it, which actually comes into play in season 3.
Oh.
And then he gets way better as a character too. Like, season 1 is my least favorite season. Season 2 or 3 toss up for my favorite. Season 4, not as much, but it just gets so much better.
Dude, this just sets the fucking. This just sets the tone to do second season with you later on in the podcast. So
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because I haven't seen none season 2, season 3. I have not seen anything else. But this was really fun.
The Spirit Tournament arc of Yu Yu Hakusho is
Dark
like
Tournament.
the Dark Tournament. Excuse me, I don't know why I keep saying that.
What did you say?
The Dark Tournament. I keep saying Spirit Tournament, but the Dark Tournament is like renowned amongst like shonen anime and manga as like the pinnacle of what it means to be a shonen. Because if you watch something like season 2 of My Hero Academia, they cheated views by making a tournament season out of it. Because it's like, you just want to see cool fights, you want to see cool animation and cool shit happen.
Here you go.
Here you go. Which, like, Yu Yu Hakusho did it first, and they did it the best. Every other tournament arc is trying to reach the Dark Tournament saga in Yu Yu Hakusho.
Like, the character development, the power system development, everything is just so good.
Yeah.
I wish I had a better word to describe it, but it's just so developed without having to think too much about it, but without being too dumbed down either.
No, absolutely.
Correct. And me and Drew have talked about this before. When you want to, like Godzilla, they try to explain to you the nonsensical fucking science in it that it just doesn't matter.
Godzilla's Singular Point, the anime.
Godzilla's Singular Point, the anime. When they give you a small explanation and drop it, that is like the best thing that an anime can do. You know, because you're not sitting there like, I don't need to hear this.
Yeah.
Especially with Hunter x Hunter, like the second season, power scaling. That was a really good explanation. I wanted to know that. I wanted to see how it worked, but it wasn't a fake science. It was their power system.
Yeah, it was like, we're describing a fantasy world, so here's our fantasy power system, because you, with your like real world sensibilities, won't understand it unless we explain it to you. What am I thinking of? Death Note, Like, I don't know why I keep talking about death now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
This is episode 61 of Between Us podcast.
The thing about death, though, is it tells you that it's the real world, and there's one fantastical element, but they keep, like, fudging the story, being like, what do you mean? It's anime. It's fantasy. Why aren't you expecting this?
We can do whatever we want.
Yeah, we can do whatever we want. That's not what you said. Those were not the parameters that were led up to this.
So now we have Yusuke. He meets this little baby person. What was his name?
Koenma.
And he gives him like a golden chicken egg, and tells him this is an egg of your spirit beast or something.
The golden chicken egg's like my favorite character come season 2, though.
Oh, it's great.
Really?
Yeah, he's my favorite come season 2.
Wait,
No.
I thought that shit was done.
No. It's like a whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. But anyways, he gives him this egg. He's like, yo, bro, you're a ghost right now. You have some sense of
Like morality.
Yes. But what I was gonna say, he has a way to intervene in the living world a little bit to show that he's a better person, but he's still dead.
Which is cool, because it's like they retcon fucking ghost stories to fit the narrative. Because it's like, yeah, when people are sleeping, they're more susceptible to ghosts and apparitions. I'm like, duh, okay, cool. Like, yeah, awesome. I'm on board. I understand this. I get what's going on.
I have a sleep paralysis demon. Yes.
Awesome. I see him every night.
Yeah.
I hope he's listening right now. And they retrofit, because when who lit the fire at Meshi's apartment?
It was just random arson. Like, kids were just throwing, like, basically Molotov cocktails, weren't they?
Just badass fucking Japanese 14-year-olds, I guess.
Hey, I'm gonna just fucking light this apartment on fire. I don't care about the repercussions or anything.
And I think that's wild about anime. The only time you see, like, badass kids living in, like, normal Tokyo are in 80s and 90s anime. Come the 2000s, that shit doesn't exist, like, as a narrative.
And I don't know if you know, but, like, from past episodes, I hate the whole high school shit. But this doesn't feel like that.
Right. I mean, there's so little time in the actual high school. It's like, it's not even like a factor.
Yeah, like, I forget they're 14-year-olds.
Mr. Tagashi knew, like, flat out, like, no one wants to hear about high school kids right now. I'm just gonna write some cool shit, but the backdrop is there in high school.
Yeah.
Oh, he's super young, but we're not gonna actually dive into that.
I forget that. I always forget, like, he's, like, 14, and then a 1,000-year-old demon's like, listen to me, weakling. You're but a seedling. And I'm like, what? How old isn't your Meshi, like, 20? But, so there's a fire in Meshi's apartment when his body does not have his spirit in it because he's dead, air quotes, but he has a weak pulse. So,
It's in a coma almost.
Yeah, he's in a coma. Thank you. Meshi now has to, like, try to influence the people in his life to go in there and rescue his body so that he can get the energy from the spirit egg demon thing, prove to Koenma that he's a decent person and can be reincarnated before his body burns up in this random arson incident.
He has to be kissed, though, doesn't he? Like, that's like the little sprinkle, like, oh wait, it's not just like a friend, like you have to be kissed in the mouth.
And one of the things that I find annoying, but not that I hate it, is that how Drew was saying that Keiko is his girlfriend, but not girlfriend, because as a 14-year-old, that's when he shows his age, because every time Keiko is mentioned, like, no, she's not my girlfriend. I don't like girls. Girls are yucky. But so yeah, the Botan and Koenma tell him, like, well, you might need a little sacrifice from somebody, as far as, like, having, like, some life energy or some shit like that.
Transfer, something like that.
It's like, so, and he's like, what? So I'm gonna have to fucking, like, sacrifice a goat or some shit like that? It's like, no. It's like, we just gotta get a girl to kiss you or something. And, like, she has to be willing to... It's, like, almost like a Disney's princess every fucking thing going on. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
he's basically Snow White.
Exactly. Yeah. So Keiko gets a little,
because there's a scene where she almost kisses his fucking corpse, where she goes and visits him, like, after the wake. The mom's just being a drunk in the corner, and Keiko's like, I just want to see him, just let me see him. And she's just, like, talking to him, and Meshi's, like, up in the sky as a spirit, just watching this happen. She's like, and he's still playing dumb, or he's actually dumb. It doesn't doesn't really explain it, but there's some stupidity here where he's like, why does Keiko give a shit? Why is she crying over my corpse like this right now?
What a dumb bitch.
Yeah, what a dumb bitch. Why does she give a fuck? Doesn't she know I'm a piece of shit? What's going on? So she's like doing her confession of love, which we've seen in anime like a billion times, but she's doing it to a corpse, even though his spirit is actually watching it.
And she gets a little rattled in the panties and kisses him.
Yeah, she's like, oh, he's so cute. They're being dead. So she kisses him.
So nice and cold.
So, like, Yusuke, initially when he's hearing that the kiss has to happen from Koenma, he's like, who's big and dumb enough to actually walk into a fire? Kuwabara, let's go. So, like, for like half a second, you think Kuwabara's gonna kiss the corpse? But so he
you're right, he possesses Kuwabara.
He possesses Kuwabara. And because Kuwabara is seen as being susceptible to spirits, because he not only hears and sees spirits, but he talks to ghosts like at night and stuff like that. Even against like his little group of like thug friends, he's like, they know that he's a weirdo. Like, he gets like a chill on the back of his spine, and they're like, another spirit, Kuwabara? Yeah, man, this one was bad. There's something creepy out here. And
there's even a scene where he's like punching a makeshift fucking Yusuke on his tree, and Botan like swipes his like back, and he's like, ah, shit.
So yeah, we haven't finished the scene where the apartment's on fire.
Correct.
So what's happening is initially like Yusuke tries to influence Keiko to go in there and like kiss his body so he'll wake up and they'll get the fuck out. She can't get in there because the whole fucking building's on fire. So at a certain point, they like influence Kuwabara, half like possessing him, half like just getting him in there, to just run in there, grab his body, and they dip. Which that happens. Which it's a crazy scene when it happens because Keiko just there's like a actual like pump water fountain outside. There's an actual like well outside. Yeah. Mm-hmm. She just like douses herself in water. Is like, I'm fucking running in there, guys.
Greatest idea ever. Like it's the smartest thing.
I didn't even think about it. I'm just like, why the fuck is she dumping her head with water?
No, yeah, like that's it. Like, if you want to compare it to how Death Note wants to be smart, no, this shit was smart.
Yeah.
You go into a burning building, douse yourself with some water before. Mm-hmm. You know?
But she's a victim to the gases and Correct. The smoke and everything in there.
Correct.
And she half passes out. And now, Yusuke, as a spirit, his priority isn't even his body. It's like, dude, we need to protect Keiko. Like, she's about to die trying to rescue my corpse.
Which I think that's, like, basically what saves him, doesn't it? He's like... Fuck my body, fuck the rest of my afterlife. Like, I just want to save Keiko now.
I can't let her die on my account.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, the egg that...
chicken egg. Golden chicken egg.
The golden chicken egg that Koenma gave him is being influenced by his spirit, right? Like, his deeds. Which is why, like, while he's dead, he's supposed to be, like, a little good boy.
Oh, and I didn't even finish explaining. So the egg, as the morality level of, or spectrum that Yusuke is gonna... it's gonna either hatch a super demon fucking crazy person or like a good spirit.
Yeah, right. It's either gonna like kill him instantly or like be his best friend forever.
Correct.
Which is hilarious that I didn't know you hadn't seen season 2 like at all, and you didn't know anything about the Spirit Beast. Like the Spirit Beast, once he comes out, it's just like, for real? That's it? It's you ever seen a platypus and a? You ever seen a
platypus?
Do you know what a platypus is?
That's my favorite animal.
Do you know what a penguin is?
I know what a penguin is.
Do you know what the color blue looks like?
Yes.
Okay, you know what his spirit animal looks like.
Okay, awesome.
I'm actually gonna Google it just so I can show you.
It's so. The saving grace here is Kuwabara is dumb and big enough to go in there, save Keiko, and they're like, holy fuck, like, Yusuke's body's like dead, like, it's about to be burnt up. Yusuke uses the energy from his little fucking chicken egg to douse the flames enough so that Kuwabara can also grab his body. Cause, like, Botan, the Grim Reaper that's been following him around...
Great, I love it.
Sho is telling Yusuke, like, hey... You can use the energy of the fucking chicken egg right now, and depending on what kind of energy you gave it, is going to depend what happens in the situation.
It's up to you, yeah.
So it's like, it'll half kill everybody in the room, or it could actually save the people you give a shit about. And he's like, fuck it, I'll do it. And he does it. It douses the flames for half a second, and Kuwabara grabs the corpse, and they get out of there. Keiko gives him the magical Sleeping Beauty kiss, and he wakes up like in the street, like in his own body.
Hey guys, what's up?
And we are back alive with Yusuke's body.
That's our first arc. I like how the actual like structure style of season 1 of YuYu Hakusho is, because season 2 is all one arc.
And great hook, by the way. Like I said, on the first 2 episodes, I was almost in tears.
Yeah.
Because this fucking asshole kid is almost getting a second chance, and he's seeing his wake. Something that it's almost like a social experiment at some point. Like, how would you tell a dick to be a nice person if he could only see the people that care for him?
So my only little caveat in that is like, secretly he's actually like a pretty good person. Like,
Yes.
he saves this kid without anybody realizing it. So much so that the spirit world's like, hey, we actually didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
So like he's morality wise, like he's a good person. He does good things. He just doesn't do them for fame or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. I can't put it into words of how to explain it. It's just troubled. I mean, his mom might have a substance abuse problem.
Might.
It might,
Yeah.
because it's not really. They don't really tell you directly, but it's in context.
Her intentions are good.
Yes.
Right.
Like, she really gives a shit about her son. Like, there's, even when she's at the bar, she's talking about her son. It's like the part of Soul Eater we watched. How the dad was a womanizing alcoholic, but whenever he was at the bar, he was just talking about his daughter. The mom in YuYu Hakusho does a lot of the same thing, and it's cool. You know what I mean? Because the hook for me watching it this past time, I watched maybe like the first like 12 episodes when it was on Toonami in like the 90s, and I remember all of season 2. But maybe like the latter half of season 1 I wasn't as familiar with. But the real hook in like episode 5 of season 1 is telling you as an audience, like, no, he's growing. This is the hero's journey. This is not like a depressive kind of thing. You're really watching a good person on the inside grow as a community with like his support system, which is like, it's kind of progressive writing for the 90s.
Then that's what I was gonna say, man. Like, fuck Dragon Ball Z. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so good. And
Why do we hate like half the popular anime?
Well, it's because people don't watch more anime. That's
yeah. If you watch 6 animes, I can understand why like you like Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah. And it's, don't get me wrong, it's good if you only watch 6 animes. Yeah. But it's, like you said, it's progressive writing. It's trying to tell you a message. It's trying to make you feel something.
Right.
Which I really like about anime. You know, I fucking love Grave of the Fireflies as much as I hate Grave of the Fireflies.
Have you seen Grave of the Fireflies?
I have not. I've actually sadly never heard of it until seconds ago.
Jesus. Fuck.
It's a, you know who Studio Ghibli is.
Right.
It's probably Studio Ghibli's best produced original. Well, it's not even an original work. Best produced work that's not meant for children, because it's a story about 2 orphans during World War II in Japan.
While they were getting firebombed.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say it, but it's World War II in Japan.
Yeah, but there's literal like Kobe. I believe it's like Kobe town or something like that. They literally have sirens and like, yo, bro, we're getting firebombed. We have to go to the shelter, and it's a fucking, I don't know. It broke me as much as Made in the Abyss broke me. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. You should really watch.
I'll check it out. What's it called again?
Grave of the Fireflies. You heard it here first in Between Earths podcast.
Check that shit out.
It's Grave of the Fireflies was a double feature with My Neighbor Totoro. Because when My Neighbor Totoro was on the bill, like it's on your fucking movie stub, but when they would go in, they started playing Grave of the Fireflies first. Which it's
I can't believe how they got away with that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how more people were mad. But going back to Yu Yu Hakusho, so he's alive, and his deal with Koenma, the child toddler thing with the Binky was like, if I bring you back to life, I give you the egg. You get your spirit energy back. You have to work for me as the spirit detective.
It's slavery without, a lot of steps. Whatever.
We call it indentured servitude over here.
What's that scene in Rick and Morty where it's like it's basically slavery
with extra steps?
With extra steps.
Yeah. So the egg didn't break.
Not till season 2.
He threw the egg. It didn't break because I didn't even hear about the egg. Like, oh, look, there's my egg. I'm gonna put it back in my pocket. I never heard it. I thought the thing shattered. That's why I didn't know.
Right. No. So it hatches in season 2, and then season 3 evolves into something.
Yeah, you just showed me the fucking blue fucking thing.
It gets better.
So as a spirit detective, that's like the driving force here in season 1, because season 2 has a plot in and of itself. It's like, hey, there's one goal here. In season 1, you get a lot of small gigs because it's just Koenma giving him odd jobs to do as the spirit detective. And one of the first ones they end up doing is it involves Kuwabara, because what ends up happening is they kind of let Urameshi go just out in the real world again, because they're like, hey, we're going to be giving you assignments, but be a lookout for everything, because now that Urameshi's been a spirit and he has access to spirit energy, he starts seeing things. he sees demons now. And the first instance is a part where Kuwabara is being bullied because some nerd with glasses stole Kuwabara's cat and was like, hey, you need to start pulling licks on places. You gotta start robbing places for me to show that you're dedicated enough to me, and I'll give you back your kitten. It's a literal 2-pound kitten that's animated here. And Urameshi, now that he sees demons, notices that this main guy extorting Kuwabara is totally possessed. He beats the shit out of him, pulls the demon out of his head, and squishes it. And this is where Botan comes back into the picture, but in a human form, because there's this sightseer person with it looks like an Indian sightseer. It's got this big wrap around her head,
like a state fair. I'm gonna read your fortune kind of crystal ballish.
And this fortune teller is telling Urameshi oh, you're gonna be destined for great things, blah 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 blah. And this is where Urameshi half imagined he was in a dream while he was a spirit, but this is where it really solidifies. No, dude, I'm trapped in this. I have to be the spirit detective. And that's when Koenma finally gives him the first assignment through Botan. That's hey, you have to find these 3 magical devices, artifact things.
A mirror,
a sword, and the little ball that steals souls, specifically from kids. So super timeout. I'm just laughing at the whole premise of it, because it's hey, you're this 14-year-old kid that has your whole life ahead of you, but now you work for us.
Slavery. I like it.
Oh shit, now I'm a slave.
Yeah. It's crazy, even from that perspective, remembering that he's 14, because the very next couple episodes are about him fighting the guy that has the artifact that steals children's souls. Because it's literally this demon that only can appetize himself with children's souls, because Urameshi is playing with the child in the street, kicking just a soccer ball around with him. Just it's just some dumbass kid. When the baby when the baby hands you the fake phone, you answer the fake phone.
I don't answer, by the way. I hang up, but
that's evil.
This is fake.
That is the most evil thing I've ever heard in my life.
Santa's not real. Fuck you. See ya.
What was that? Santa's not real?
So Urameshi's kicking this soccer ball around with these kids. He leaves the kid, walks across the street, the kid passes out. And that's when Botan shows up and he's like, yeah, that kid just totally had his soul taken. Can you go beat this demon that's trying to eat these souls? And it's just this giant-ass fucking ogre-looking dude. And this is where we finally start being introduced to the power system. It's like season 2 of Hunter x Hunter, you were describing earlier. These next couple episodes are describing the foundation for spirit energy. But, you compare that to something like Dragon Ball.
Ki? Fuck that.
Yeah, Dragon Ball never explains Ki. If I'm watching the anime specifically, I don't even remember it being called Ki. It's just fucking energy blast that comes out of my fist. I don't know.
Yeah, and then like I think we talked about this before, like in the Budokai games and stuff like that. Like Android 18 doesn't charge up Ki, she charges up.
It automatically powers up
something,
because she's a robot and she has
yeah.
Ki, and I don't know.
Yeah, some bullshit.
But here they're giving you the backstory. It's like he now has his secret weapon, the spirit gun, which is a once a day like blast of spirit energy.
So I actually wrote a little note about this. So season 1, episode 6, one of his teachers is trying to like frame him for like stealing everything. Everyone's shit's going missing, and so he figures out with like one of the little spirit detective items that like it's all in his pocket.
It's a compass. No, it's an eyeglass.
A pen?
The eyeglass.
And a pen, right? With like a golden dragon
No,
around
that's another student's pen. That's
Oh,
like his
yeah,
lucky
yeah.
pen or whatever
Yeah.
the fuck. So whatever, the principal is like, hey, we gotta go talk about this. So he's walking away, and Yusuke wants to get revenge on him, and he's like, so Quinn was like, okay, well, just fire your spirit gun. Which introduces us to like the power system, like, hey, this is Yusuke's like main fucking thing that he like fights people with. So he shoots the spirit gun, and then think in retrospect, like, season 2, season 3, season 4, which this could like blow up a planet, he just shoots it at a human. He's like, okay, bye.
Boop. And if it like knocks him out, like it knocks him forward, he's like, holy shit, did you just punch me?
Yeah.
He's like, what do you mean? I'm back here, dude.
He gets donkey punched, basically.
Yeah. What do you mean? I'm all the way back here. I couldn't have punched you.
And again, like the little background story about this is that the teachers are being assholes to the students because the little homies that Kuwabara has, now they're in danger of being kicked out of school. And we know that being kicked out of school in Japan is very dangerous to financial situation.
Well, the scene that Roby's describing is even before that. Because, so, Yusuke has to recover the 3 items, but the later arc has to do almost entirely with Kuwabara and his gang.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it might be in parallel, actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
I think so.
Maybe not completely after, but it's in parallel. Because the very first artifact, Yusuke just defeats this demon. It's a giant ogre-looking thing with impenetrable skin, which Yusuke... I like how this fight plays out, because Yusuke sticks a stick inside of his mouth, and it exposes like his soft innards, right? So his one a day spirit gun, he just blasted into his mouth, and that's how he defeats him.
Was that when he had the ring that powered it up yet? Yeah.
So he ends up getting another spirit item from Botan. There's like 13 or something like that.
I lost count after a while. I was like, here's one for the story. Here you go.
It's because they number them, like it's important and you're supposed to remember at all times.
Like the 13 mask in the first season of JoJo.
Right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, at a certain point, it's just like, this item's convenient for this story right now, so we're introducing it. And this part... I got the feels a little bit, because it's a demon that's just targeting children. Like, everybody has like a soft spot for little fucking kids, right? And so Yusuke defeats the demon that was eating the souls of children. The souls escape.
This demon had a heart spot for little kids.
Yeah. So when the demon's head is blown off, the spirits go back into children's bodies, and it's this big like cultural like he had just eaten a little girl's soul. And this little girl is just knocked out in the forest without a soul, and all these grown men around her are just like, what the fuck? This girl's dead. We just found her in the forest. And you start seeing the kids wake up, and we see that little soccer kid from earlier wake up. And it's like a feel-good moment. This is the point of Yusuke dying, is to help people at the end of the day. It wasn't even about him.
Right.
And the second one reiterates that point, because the 2 demons that are left that stole these magical items from Soul Society. I'm going to use Bleach terms here.
King Yama's like vault or whatever. Quinn was dead. King Yama. Anyway,
they stole these magical items for whatever selfish reasons they had. The second item here is a mirror that during the full moon will grant you any wish, but it will take your life for it. Which
we don't find out till later. Like that's just like the premise of it. It's like it'll grant anyone any wish.
Right.
That's what it's like presented as or whatever.
Yeah. So it's like, fuck, that's broken, dude. Like we have to kill what's his name?
Kurama.
We have to kill Kurama immediately. Like he can't let this wish go through. But it ends up being this super selfless act. So the story behind Kurama is he's a fox spirit who, because he's a fox, and again reminds me of a Fruits Basket that we're watching this week, which is about like humanoid representation of like the zodiac spirits and how like if you're possessed by a zodiac spirit, it will influence your personality. Kurama, as a fox spirit, steals shit. You know what I mean? He's a fucking fox. He's sly, right? He makes enough enemies by stealing things that he eventually dies. But with his last bit of energy, he comes to the human world and kind of like puts his soul in the body of an impregnated woman's fetus. And
which I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm just like watching this again. I'm like, what the fuck? What happened to that one kid then?
Yeah, like he just totally consumed somebody else's spirit.
Yeah, gone. The kid gone forever.
Or a fetus doesn't actually have a spirit yet.
Or
I'm telling you. Anyways,
heard it here first. The Betweener.
Fuck, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole right now. So Kurama has to live his first 12. He has to be born and live 12 years as a human to get back his lost spirit energy. Mm-hmm. But because he was raised by this woman, that's his mom. You know what I mean? Like that's his human mother. He feels for her, so, and she's sickly. But
he wasn't a good son either. He admits he's like, I was a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
I fucked with her nonstop. Like I'm probably the reason why she's sick right now.
And that's supposed to be the parallel to Yusuke here. And that's why Yusuke is like, wow, like, what have I been doing to my mom this whole time?
Like, am I a dick because my mom's sick, or is my mom sick because I'm a dick?
Right.
Honestly, I think that's exactly right, because there's a bunch of stories about, like, how your parents' traumas, like, reflect on their children. But at a certain point, if you're this badass Yusuke Urameshi just beating the shit out of everybody every single day. Not going to school. Mm-hmm. I'd fucking drink about it too.
Why is my son not at school?
Maybe this six-pack has the answers.
Yeah. So Kurama makes a deal with Yusuke. He's like, listen, like, I know you gotta take this jewel back. I know I stole from King Yama. I know it's a big deal. I don't care if I die. I really don't give a shit. I'm gonna use my wish with this magical mirror, give up the entirety of my life force to make sure this woman lives. And that was the stipulation that we were describing that we don't know from the outset, is that to get your wish, you have to give up your life for it. So Yusuke, he's a good dude now. You know what I mean? Like, he saves people's lives. He's a spirit detective. He's like, I'm gonna let this demon do whatever the fuck he wants and grant his wish. And it happens. And it's right when Kurama's making the wish that Yusuke's like, holy shit, dude, you can't give up your life for this. You can't do that. Take my life. Just not even thinking. Just being selfless, much as he did with the kid with the car. Like, he gives up his own life for Kurama, who he's known for a week at this instance.
So he's also seen, like, how he's interacting with her in the hospital. And then at that exact moment, the doctor's like, hey, she's in the critical period. She has less than, like, a day to live.
Like, she's gonna die tonight.
Yeah, like, hey, make your peace, because she's fucking dying, like, right now.
That's scary specific, huh?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Talking to a nurse about, like, life expectations.
And so at this point, Yusuke's like, well, shit, like, I've seen this happen before. I'm not gonna let this happen for. So he just kind of dives in recklessly, like, well, fucking take my life instead.
So Yusuke jumps in. The mirror, which is called the Forlorn Hope, is trying to take Kurama's, like, life energy for, like, as equal compensation for the wish, right? And so we get, like, this giant, like, emotional moment where Botan finds out in that exact second that the Forlorn Hope takes life energy, and she's like, holy fuck, like, Yusuke is in danger. So she's trying to reach Yusuke before he does something stupid, like sacrifices his life to this mirror for somebody he just met. And the Forlorn Hope has, like, a consciousness of its own, because it's a fucking demon mirror. I don't know. It lets both Urameshi and Kurama live because Urameshi and Kurama did something selfless. They were trying to help somebody else here. Like, it's not like the typical selfish wish that would have fucked everybody over, which is like the monkey paws kind of scenario that we've described before. Mm-hmm. And so now we have like 2 of the 3 artifacts, and this is Yusuke's first big endeavor as a spirit detective to get these 3 things. But then Koenma, audibly to like the ogres in his office, is like, well, the 3rd artifact is totally going to be the biggest problem here, because it's a sword that turns people into demons and is being held by what's his name?
Hiei.
By Hiei.
Which is my favorite character for many years. It was Yusuke, and now it's Hiei. He's so much better than Yusuke.
I like his character. I don't like his character design.
I think it's you'll see. You'll see it season 2.
Okay.
Because like him being short and like the spiky hair thing,
like Levi is like 90s Levi.
Yes, he's literally 90s Levi from Attack on Titan, except he's a demon at the end of the day. So by season 2, when like there's like this life or death instance where he needs to throw out all his demon energy, you see the real Hiei.
He basically fucks shit up. Like, that's at the end of the day.
He's OP as fuck. Like, if Hiei's serious at any point, like, everyone else is just...
I get it. Levi, Attack on Titan. I get it.
Yeah,
okay.
And it's the exact same thing. So, Yusuke's got to go fight Hiei now. Mm-hmm. And the thing... So, Hiei is kind of an asshole in the sense that, like, he understands that Yusuke has defeated his 2 allies that stole these artifacts. But Hiei's like, okay, how do I... What's Yusuke's weakness? Mm-hmm. It's the girl. It's
Keiko.
It's Keiko. It's Keiko. So Hiei just kind of like finds Keiko after school and like slashes her with the sword.
So I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, go for it.
The sword, this artifact, any human that it slices turns into a demon.
Right. A lesser demon.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So Keiko goes into a coma. Like, she's in the process of being turned into a demon here. And Yusuke is like, holy shit, you fucked with my girl. I got to kill you now, dude.
Is that where she's getting the sideways eye over here?
Yeah. The whispering eye.
The whispering eye. You're fucking funny. I was gonna say the sideways pussy on her forehead.
Tell you, Mr. Whispering Eye.
Just describe for the audience what you're talking about. She's getting a literal slanted eye on her forehead because he has this deal about like this all-seeing eye. So the demons he's turning people into have this 3rd eye, but it looks very it looks like a vulva. It looks like a
labia.
Like a whispering eye.
I don't know where this podcast is turning into. This is too much smut for me.
So Hiei tells Yusuke, that's like, dude, you can't beat me in a fight. Bring the 2 other artifacts you took.
I just cut your girl. Just gonna
I cut your girl. If you want her to live, bring me those 2 other artifacts, and maybe we'll make a deal. So Yusuke, being a dumb fuck, actually takes the artifacts and presents them to Hiei. And at the very last second, he's like, psych, bitch, we actually have to fight. So they do it. But these early fights in YuYu Hakusho, like, to the scaling that you were talking about earlier, Roby, like, the spirit gun can blow up a planet by the end of the end of the anime. Right here, it's, like, weird that Yusuke's flat out just normal punching demons in the face.
Right.
Because Hiei's led to believe that he's a fucking cheetah, you know what I mean? He's just jumping from space to space. You only see his after image. It's like a Naruto character.
And we see he's like demon formish, right? His green skin, his 3rd eye, whispering eye.
Wrote the whispering eye. So a couple things, like one, his Dragon Eye, the 3rd eye, plays a huge part in season 3 and 4 later on. The demon form that he takes, he actually never takes it again the rest of the season, or the rest of the series. Like, that's it. Like, after this episode...
Well, he finds it ugly, too.
Right.
He prefers, like, his more humanoid form. Because even though, like, in a lot of dialogue pieces with Hiei, he's like, humans are all weak and they're all so ugly, and, like, why do you give a shit about humans? He kind of sees himself inside of human communities. And that's why he's always presented inside of his human form. Right. But right here, he says it flat out during the fight with Hiei. He's like, oh, I can't believe I have to take this form because of you. And he takes that big, ugly 3rd eye.
Green with eyes everywhere and everything.
Right. And it shows, it lets him, that's how Hiei's not going to get the slip on him. You know what I mean? He's just like, I have eyes everywhere and you can never catch me now.
Super fast, yeah.
But the smart thing that feels planned out here, which would not feel planned out in something like JoJo's, is Yusuke fires his spirit gun, misses Hiei on purpose, but bounces the spirit energy off of the Forlorn Hope mirror back at Hiei. So it catches him in the back where he wasn't paying attention. And that feels so smart in that instance.
Correct, because he's not even... He doesn't miss on purpose. He does point at Hiei, but he knows he's gonna dodge, but he's aiming at the mirror through Hiei.
Right.
And he shoots, Hiei does his dodge, hits the mirror, hits him in the back. Great shit.
And I'm sorry, and now Keiko's fine. Now Hiei's like a full-fledged spirit detective because he's actually proved himself and he's been able to do Koenma's mission.
Oh, and Kurama actually comes in to help Keiko too. He sneaks in and he's like, I owe you.
You have to, he puts like a damper on the eye, right? Because as soon as it opens...
So Botan's trying to use her fucking whatever power system she has to like... If the eye fully opens, Keiko becomes a demon.
Right.
So she's trying to hold it back, but it's also like killing her at the same time. So Kurama comes in and he's like, hey, you like did this selfless thing for me, like I kind of owe you one.
Yeah, which is true. Like, save my girl, I saved your mom, bro.
So YuYu Hakusho is all about paying debts, and then that's it. So then he basically just is like, hey, I'm going to make sure she doesn't turn into a demon, do whatever you need to do, and then I'm out of here.
Right.
Which happens, and then Kurama's out.
Which it's super dramatic when it happens, because he willfully gets stabbed by Hiei. Like, in the gut.
But since he's a demon, nothing happens to him other quote-unquote thing, just getting fucking stabbed in the stomach.
That's the annoying part about, like, once you get to season 2, like, somebody will lose a whole ass arm, and it's like, but I'm a demon. Like, what does that mean? That means nothing. Who gives a shit?
By the way, fun fact, Hiei and the other guy, the pink one, what's his name? Kurama, it's names of mountains in Japan.
What?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So, they're big warriors in this anime, so I believe that's why they're big mountains.
Which is hilarious, because Hiei is like... That's like the running joke in all the seasons.
He's 5 feet tall.
And maybe
4'11".
And maybe
he's 4'11".
Yeah. And maybe Hiei is a small mountain. I don't know. I didn't look it up. But yeah, Hiei and Kurama are names of mountains in Japan.
He's a mountain of personality.
Yeah.
Because the next part's really cool. The next little short arc here is Yusuke's next mission is Koenma gets word that the creator of like the spirit wave technique is trying to retire. Genkai is trying to retire, and she's trying to like pass her knowledge on to the next generation. So she's trying to take on a student. This is like the best lead psychic bitch. You know what I mean? Just like old crotchety woman, but like
can fuck up anybody.
Right. You work with nurses like this, right? Like just like old dirt shit, batshit crazy nurses.
But knows everything.
But knows everything somehow.
You do not fuck with them.
Right. This is Genkai right here.
Like doctors are like, hey, if anyone fucks with them, you fuck with us. Like that, nobody messes with them.
Exactly. And that's Genkai in this scenario. But
and this is when it turns like 100% Hunter x Hunter.
Right. It's a literal fucking tournament arc.
Yeah.
Which it's like a disservice that we're comparing it to Hunter x Hunter because
contest, right? The contest arc, right? Or what is it?
So basically, Genkai's like, look, I'm getting older. My spirit wave has to be passed down. I don't care if it's for good or evil. I just want progress.
Right.
Someone who's going to take it further than me. So whoever wins is going to learn.
Right. So she has like an open tryout session. She's just like, hey, everybody show up to where I fucking live, my fucking spirit temple. Anybody that wins all my bullshit contests and tournaments, you get it. You get the spirit wave. I'll teach you everything.
And the paper out of the hat thing. Genius. Simple.
Oh, it's so
genius.
Super smart.
It's so smart. I don't know how you haven't seen Hunter x Hunter, Roby, because it's like this is totally like what makes Hunter x Hunter because it's just smart JoJo's, right?
Yeah.
And if Togashi here, Mr. Yoshiro Togashi wrote both of these, YuYu Hakusho just it's you see like seeds of genius, which is like the best like thing to notice here, because what Aldo's describing is Genkai is like, okay, cool, pull a piece of paper out of a jar.
All those badass warriors from all over the land show up.
Yeah, like all
7 feet tall.
I'm gonna learn the spirit technique, but like if you pull the paper out of the hat, like the the pieces with the red strip are moving on to the next stage. And they all think it's a literal, like, random ass lottery. But the gimmick here is that it depends on your spiritual energy, like your spiritual pressure almost, because you'll turn the strip red on its own just by contact with your spirit energy.
Key, some would say.
Yeah. So like half the group gets taken out, and like you were trying to describe, Aldo, like these big ass guys try approaching the teacher here, and they're just like, "What do you mean? I'm the best fighter in my city. You should be able to train me. It's like a privilege to train me." And she just like shuts him up real quick because she's a badass spiritual psychic person. Mm-hmm. And this is where, like what you were saying, it really feels like the beginning of the Hunter exam in Hunter x Hunter.
Yes, sir.
Because the next little bit is like, hey, we're gonna stick you in the middle of the forest. Meet me at the end of the forest in like 48 hours or whatever. Which is literally one of the exact Hunter exam like tests.
The running test.
And it's the trick here, if the papers was the spiritual pressure, is your spiritual like awareness, because it's a forest filled with demons. Mm-hmm. So if you have a certain level of spiritual awareness, you should be able to avoid the demons and get to the end point on time.
On that note, Yusuke's in his own little like inner monologue is like the straightest or the quickest point from A to B is a straight line, so that's where I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
Which ends up like fucking him over, sort of, for all these super strong demons. Anyway.
And I'm sorry to bring it back like a little couple of notches, but we did see some character development with Kuwabara.
Oh, we didn't even mention that Kuwabara's here.
So what I was trying to mention earlier when we were following the story with Hiei, the parallel story with Kuwabara's homies. And Kuwabara, too, they get, like, this ultimatum at school.
Yeah.
Because they're like, yo, we know you guys were stealing that shit. We know that you guys are fighting people all the time. If we see you guys do any source of that shit again, you guys are expelled.
Right. So the dick-ass teacher that was, like, fucking with Yusuke is now told Kuwabara specifically, just like, you're the ringleader amongst this group of thug friends. If you fuck up at all... and you don't pass all your tests, like your friend who's on a work-study program, I'm getting him fired from his job.
And he's going to starve to death.
Which he needs, because like it's like a single-family household. Like the community that Kuwabara and Yusuke obviously grew up in doesn't have a lot of money. It's not like a good part of town or anything like that. So it's like you're literally going to starve like a family of 4 to make an example out of Kuwabara.
Just to be a dick.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is where we get that character development from Kuwabara, because it's like he's always trying to beat the shit out of everybody. He'll never back down from a fight. He'll fuck people up, like he's not even like merciful within a fight. But it's like he's about his homies. He knows who his friends are. He's got like he's not smart, but he has a really thought out.
He has discipline.
Yes, he has discipline. He has a code of ethics.
Mm-hmm. And they also, part of this ultimatum is also the physical science exam that they have to pass.
Yeah.
And we see Yusuke helping him in his astro world, help him study. You know?
Oh, fuck. That's how far back we missed it.
Yeah.
Because Yusuke was still dead at this point.
Yeah.
So, like, because people are more vulnerable to spirits in their sleep.
And we know that Kuwabara has a very sensible, notion of the spirits.
He's really sensitive to, like, spirits and stuff like that. He fell asleep while studying. For this test, he needed to get a 65 on. No, it was a 50 or something.
Yeah.
He needed to get a 50 on to pass.
He's getting myoglobins, studying on myoglobins.
Yeah, it was totally like a biology exam, too.
Yeah.
So Yusuke has to grab Kuwabara's textbook, and in Kuwabara's dream, it has to quiz him all night.
It's like, it's called myoglobins. Yeah.
I think that's even before the treasure bit.
Yeah.
Or it's happening at the same time, right?
A little before it.
And it's the reason why it's so important in the part we're describing with the spirit training and the wavelengths and all that is we see that character development from Kuwabara, and we see that he's like about his friends and he'll do anything for them. He'll even turn down fights and get his ass kicked so that his boy doesn't lose his job.
Correct.
And we see Kuwabara at like the entrance exam for Genkai.
When Yusuke shows up after climbing who knows how many fucking steps of a fucking stairway. Kuwabara, Yusuke, you're here too. Because I guess Kuwabara already acknowledged that he has like a sensitivity to like the spirit world.
He thought he had like depression or something.
Yeah.
He's like, I need to go find a therapist, bro. And he thought his spirit sensitivity was like a real disease or something. So he finds this psychic to train him how not to be sensitive.
Yeah, that's his whole like spiel. Like, he wants to win not because he wants to be stronger than everyone. He just wants to know how to like.
He wants inner
shut
peace.
everything up.
Yeah, he wants inner peace. Which again, fucking 10 times more genius than one episode than the entirety of Death Note. You know what I'm saying?
Fuck that.
And but yes, now we're here at the test, at the Hunter exam test. We get the little paper draw from the hat, and these little papers, all these big buff guys, everybody pulls out a paper, and the Genkai, right?
Yeah.
Genkai lets them know if your paper is red, you're in. If not, then you're out. And how you were explaining, the paper activates with your own spirit, aura, spirit strength, whatever. So Kawabara, Yusuke, open the little tab and it's a red thing.
Yeah.
Which is fucking genius.
Yeah. And what's crazy about like how Roby was describing Yusuke's like the easiest point in this forest full of demons is from point A to point B. Genkai, we get her spiel that's like nobody can travel that way because it's full of powerful demons. Kuwabara, with his increased spirit sensitivity, is kind of just like evading all the really powerful demons and kind of just running around them. And he's the first person to pass that part of the exam. And Genkai's like, you? Like, you're the one that did this?
You blockhead?
Yeah, you dumb fuck. You're the one that was able to do this? And he's just like, yeah, where's everybody else? I thought I was late. And she's just like, well, I guess. So the cutoff time happens. Yusuke still has not gotten to the end point. But that's because he went through the path with the strongest demons in it, and he's actually fighting them, and that's why he's running late. So he finally defeats, like, the super bad demon of the forest, gets through, and he has to, like, beg Genkai, like, hey, like, I'm sorry?
Well, so Genkai's like, the time cutoff is there, and she's like, you know what, no exceptions. And then Yusuke comes up, and he's like, well, I just fucking beat this whatever the demon was, who was like half bat, half human or whatever.
Yep.
She's like, you fought that. And so it like flashes back to him fighting with him, and he's basically just like fucking up this like bat person. And
Well,
like,
he's getting fucked up pretty much. It's a one-sided fight at the beginning.
well, he talks about it, and he's like, I memorized your fucking moves for like an hour just to lose. Like, fuck you. So he memorizes them, he beats him, and he goes back, and then Genkai's like, no exceptions. And then he shows up, and she's like, all right, this exception.
Yeah, because even Yusuke, when he shows up, he's like, what the fuck? Like, I'm trying to get here, and then I run up to this dude that's fucking bullying me, and he keeps doing the low kick Mortal Kombat move all the time, and I fuck him up, and that's why I'm late. And then Genkai's like,
Maybe I'll give this exception.
our protagonist is gonna get expelled from the test? No, he's not.
It does remind me of like the Demon Souls games though, where those games are like they're hard because you need to learn like the fighting pattern, right? Like it's not like something super convoluted like with even Apex or something where I'm having to jump around and use certain like find certain guns. Like there's like an actual game plan, right? Mm-hmm. Like the Demon Souls games are literally you losing for 2 hours to learn their fight pattern.
Right.
So
Dodge,
that you can,
dodge,
yeah,
dodge.
so that you can know when to dodge when you're finally ready. And this is where the cheap part of shonen anime is that like if you want to get everybody's attention up, you just do a really cheap like fighting arc. You know what I mean? Because you have an excuse to animate a bunch of cool action scenes. So the very next bit is just 8 people just doing like a round robin fight.
Yeah.
The gimmick here is that it's in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
So it's supposed to test their spiritual sensitivity.
Mm-hmm. And he gets an exception from being late to the finish line, and we meet our 5 contenders.
8.
8.
It is 8 at first.
Oh, okay.
Which reminds me of like My Hero Academia when Eraserhead's like, you know what? If anyone finishes at the bottom, they're fucking expelled. And then Midoriya's like, oh, well, let me just fucking launch this baseball fucking 900 feet in the air. He's like, nah, just kidding, you're good.
Yeah.
I was just trying to piss you off. I just wanted to see what would happen. Which is exactly what Genkai's doing here, because...
and Genkai and Yusuke hate each other.
Yeah, like it's because... You don't see it till season 2. It's because Yusuke reminds Genkai of her ex-boyfriend.
Oh.
Which has such a cute... Like, I'm not going to spoil anything, but like... God, the fucking arc in season 2 is so good.
Like, season 2 is fire just because of Genkai's story. It's not even about Yusuke or any of the other villains or anybody else. It's about Genkai, and that's where it matters.
Yes.
Because, like, Genkai... I'm not going to
watch season 2
yeah,
tonight.
We'll bring you back.
Yeah, we'll bring you back.
In, like, a few weeks, and we'll talk about season 2. How about that one?
How about that? You good? Yeah? All right. Cheers. Cheers to that guy.
Yes.
So... the big thing happening here is that they're butting heads, Genkai and Urameshi, but
So, he's already talking shit to her. He's like, he doesn't care who the fuck it is. He's like, hey, grandma.
yeah, hey, which
Old
is
hag.
so disrespectful, like, and that's literally how he talks to the teachers that hate him too. He's just like,
Didn't Botan slap him for like talking shit about Genkai?
no, he was disrespecting Koenma.
Oh.
Urameshi was talking shit to Koenma and being like, hey, you fucking toddler. And Botan had to slap the shit out of him before they both end up dying and being put into purgatory. And he's just like, sorry, master. Like, he's just some stupid 14-year-old fuck from Japan. Like, I can't.
By the way, slaps in this fucking first season, OP, bro.
Yeah. It's even the humility portion of it. It's just like, you slap me?
Yeah.
I'm done. Like, I could never recover from this.
Yeah, exactly.
So, they're having an 8-person tournament arc in the dark inside of an enclosed building. Botan, the Spirit Reaper, Yusuke's spirit guide, is outside, and she's trying to like coach Yusuke on how to cheat during the tournament arc. Because he doesn't have spiritual sensitivity. Because we see Kuwabara go in either the first or second round, and his spirit sensitivity was enough that he was able to win.
Right, he's well, even before that, he's seen the fight and he's like, oh yeah, this dude is doing this thing to another guy, which I actually had to write this down. This fucking one guy, what's his name? Not Kabono, not Shore.
The green hair guy?
Kazumata, the bald guy with the fucking swastika on his head.
Oh,
I'm
bro.
like, why is that still in there?
Okay. Do you guys know where the swastika
Yes.
eventually came from?
I do know, but like, it's not in the right angle.
Yeah,
it's
like
swastika
it's
angle.
like 45 degrees.
Yeah, it's spun. So like the way he has it tattooed on his head, it's swastika angled, not the way of the Buddhist.
It's a Buddhism,
like power strength.
It's not only power strength, but like with everything else with Buddhism, it's showing your power growing outward
And surrounding you.
Yeah, and surrounding you, and how you're becoming part of nature, and that's how you're gonna find enlightenment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So it kind of made sense with it being a Buddhist book, but you're right.
But like in 97 when it came out, like, okay, cool.
The angle's totally wrong, because like when you see the straight angled, like horizontal parallel line swastika on Nazi Germany shit, it's because that's how they co-opted it. They took it as like power encompassing itself, and that's how they were going to become the Third Reich or whatever the fuck.
Correct.
But this character here, he doesn't have it at the Buddhist angle. Like, it's still a swastika because it's
It
horizontal.
doesn't have the two dots that I believe the Buddhist original symbol had.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
It's super
so
fucked up.
it's like, might as well Charles Manson be fucking fighting in this fucking exam.
I think that's a part of it too, because the reason why he's being trained by Genkai is that there's a secret demon that's part of the people that are becoming a student, right? Because the whole point of Koenma telling Yusuke to go into this is like, hey, there's totally this super famous demon that just steals people's wave techniques or apparitions that steal people's spirit techniques. Do not let him take Genkai's spirit wave technique, like, by any means. Like, you need to figure out which of these people portraying themselves as a human is actually the demon.
And not even...
Rando. His name's Rando.
And not even figure it out. Like, it's almost like you have to win so the demon doesn't win it.
Right.
And it reminded me of that shitty movie Devil with the demon in the elevator, and it turned out to be the old lady.
Oh yeah.
So when I saw the little kid, I'm like, that's fucking him.
Yeah. It's the least susceptible, the character you would least suspect here, who's just like this tiny Buddhist child, ends up being Rando.
So I'm a fucking moron, and I was like, okay, the guy, who the fuck is his name? Kabono, the one with the helmet. I was like, oh, the first time I ever saw this, I was like, man, this guy's totally Rando. Mm-hmm. And he gets beaten. I was like, this guy's not fucking Rando.
Mm-hmm. So yes, once they enter Genkai's temple or fucking dojo or whatever you want to fucking call it, they come into like this fucking arcade bar room set that you have to do the punch thing like in Dragon Ball Z.
The games, yeah.
Boom! Yeah. And then you have to do paper, scissors, rock against the machine, and then you have to sing karaoke and some shit like that. And like that's how they were able to
they get like their
disqualify the other three members.
They get like their spirit stats.
Yeah.
Like how strong they are or how much potential they have and like how much they can like or how much they can like overcome adversity or some shit like that with the karaoke.
So when we get to like the last 5 people, that's when we have the dark room fights.
Yeah.
Right? And we know that Kuwabara goes up against the... Well, no, I'm sorry. It was first the assassin with the bodyguard.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
The swastika guy.
And so the assassin's like, oh, well, I fucking kill people for a living. Is this okay? And Genkai's like, dude, just fucking win. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
And then the assassin's like, trying to talk himself up. Like, well, I just fucking kill people for a living. And she's like, I don't care. Just fucking win. Like, that's it.
Mm-hmm. And this is where we first see the Kuwabara's ability of his sword.
Yeah, because his whole thing, when they're in the dark and he's seen Meshi's spirit gun, is like, wow, I need like my own kind of weapon here, because there's a writing trope, especially in like fantasy writing, that's it's the Lancer character. The Lancer character is probably always the more competent character. He's more gifted. His growth is more rapid, but he's not the main character. So he's always subpar for just some innate story-driven reason, and that's Kuwabara here. Like, Kuwabara has the increased spiritual sensitivity. He has the spiritual pressure to actually create like a spirit sword out of his hand. That
he gets it from the one character. He has like the fucking spirit
the wooden sword that it's powered by his own spirit energy,
which ends up breaking, and that's how he like uses this fucking object to like project his spirit energy towards.
Because when that guy that he goes up against, I can't remember exactly who it is. It doesn't really matter to the story, but he brings up this sword because apparently you can use a weapon in this mashup,
which Genkai also calls like, oh, this guy with his spirit awareness and his anger, why hasn't he created a weapon yet?
Yeah, correct. And then with this wooden sword that the other guy that he's going up against with pulls up, he's like, I'm gonna fuck you up with a stick, and it starts like bashing the shit out of him. But Kuwabara, we know he's a blockhead, we know he's hard-headed, we know that he's persistent, and he takes the blows. He ends up breaking that wooden sword, and he ends up grabbing what it is, the handle of that sword, and that helped him almost discover the fact that he could build up this spiritual weapon from his hand.
Kuwabara is kind of a tank, like what you're describing about. He always gets his ass kicked before he before he ends up beating somebody. Like, it's never like an easy fight for Kuwabara. He's always getting fucked up every time. What were you going to say? I'm sorry.
Season 2, same exact thing happened. Not to jump ahead of the podcast or anything, but he's getting fucked up, and then he's like, wait, I have a better sword now.
Yeah. Like, if anybody's hacks as fuck, like HAX, like just cheating the Matrix his way through, it's Kuwabara. Like, all of Meshi's like power-ups, they make sense. You know what I mean? It means
they're planned and they make sense, and obviously for the plot and everything, but like Cobra is just like, oh shit, I'm actually stronger than I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just too stupid to realize like his own potential half of the time.
He reminds me of the character from Fire Force, the Ansela guy, the knight guy.
Because he has a sword?
And because it's pretty much the same thing. Like when he's focused. Maybe in Fire Force they kind of like derail from that trope that you're mentioning,
right?
But it's pretty much the same trope.
No, it's the exact same thing. Yeah. It's the Lancer character. It's the second in command. It's if you've seen the most recent Netflix iteration of Voltron, the way they treat the Lancer character there is so much more prominent. Like you're right, you'll see it a lot more there. So Kuwabara wins because now he has a magic fucking soul sword, and I miss the 90s shonen tropes where they would announce like their fucking power names. Because from here on out, every time Kuwabara is going to pull out the fucking soul sword, you really see an animation of him be like, soul sword!
Might as well be Sailor Moon, bro.
Bro, it's so dope though. Like,
Yeah,
I miss that. I miss that so much.
And that's one of the things that we loved about like Darling in the Franxx, too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
They really like announce their names.
Gurren Lagann.
It's not afraid to be cheesy because those were the best parts about that. Because Yusuke, as the main character in this anime, he's the last fight in the dark room, right?
Obviously.
But he doesn't have Kuwabara's spirit sensitivity, so he can't even see his enemies, so he's getting his ass kicked. But it's hacks. It's totally a JoJo ending here because it's like Genkai threw her lit cigarette into the dark.
Well, he was talking shit to Genkai.
Right.
You old hag, why do we have to do this? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, so Genkai's just like, hey, fuck you, go fight. And she's like, she's fucking old. She's like, I don't give a shit what's going on. Smoking a cigarette, just fucking throws it at him, whatever. Quote unquote, whatever, that's it.
And then he goes up against Big Bad, the guy that you initially, Robbie, the guy that you initially thought was the big bad here, the demon guy.
Yeah, even going back and watching it again, I was like, is this motherfucker Rando? And then I was like, oh, motherfucker, he's not Rando.
So Yusuke's getting his ass kicked because he can't see in the dark.
He has a mask.
He doesn't have any spirit sensitivity. The other guy has a mask that lets him like focus his energy and like see around him. You know what I mean? So Yusuke can't get a hit in. But the JoJo's ending here is that when one of the times that he goes in to punch Yusuke puts like the lit cigarette onto like his cloak, onto his piece of clothing to light him up in the dark.
Oh, so this dude is like a master at fucking like every fucking
martial
arts ever. And so he's like, oh, well, I'm a master, so even though you punch me, I'm gonna fucking throw you.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna show you my bonsai swirled or bonsai throw or something like that. And he just manhandles fucking Yusuke.
Yeah.
But at this moment, when when Yusuke finally lands a punch and he grapples him, he's like, I'm a master in grappling as well. And he just tosses this guy. He slips the lit cigarette into his belt or his, like his, what is it?
His gi or something.
His gi belt on, and now he can see.
Yeah.
So this guy with the mask and being able to see Yusuke's like spirit focusing in himself, he's about to attack. He's like, this is over! He's about to punch him, and then Yusuke just...
Yeah, he spirit guns him in the face. Because, like, even though the spirit sensitivity mask that he was wearing let him see Yusuke's spirit senses, he by cheating the system and not using his real eyes, he's not able to see that there's a fucking lit cigarette on his belt that's letting him be visible to Yusuke. Which is like the lesson here by Genkai too. It's just like, that guy's fucking stupid. Like, he's cheating the system, and not even in a good way. Like, he's not mastering the spirit sensitivity enough that he's crippled himself in his real eyesight.
Yeah, it's such like an OP mask that it determines his entire plan.
Right, because even from here, we get like a second part of this tournament saga. Genkai takes the remaining 4 initiatives and takes them into this swamp marshy place where like a battle happened or something. So there's a bunch of dead spirits around. So the spiritual pressure in this area is like really high. And this is where they're going to do the semifinals or whatever, right? And our protagonists still don't know who exactly the major demon antagonist here is. And Kuwabara goes first. He fights like the super badass that we thought was going to be what's his name, Rando or something like that,
the demon.
And Kuwabara like learns how to better his sword and actually learns how to control his spiritual pressure, and it's super dramatic, and you almost think Kuwabara's gonna die because 90 shonen, you know what I mean? Like you always think everyone's gonna die, but nobody ever dies ever. And he wins, but because the guy that Kuwabara beat didn't turn into a demon, you know that wasn't Rando. So that leaves the last fight, who's this 4'0" little Buddhist Krillin character.
So I'm super sorry to interrupt. Like, one of the reoccurring themes through like this entire anime is Yusuke, somebody just like wanting to like, you know what, I'm gonna fight, and then I'm gonna give my entire life to this fight, no matter what. So Yusuke's fighting this guy that's fucking firing shurikens, but that have fucking like explosive devices inside them. And he's like, you know what? I'm gonna fucking just end this. Kuwabara, you take it from here. I'm gonna die. No big deal. I'm gonna self-sacrifice. So he's running towards this guy. The shurikens are like focusing in on Yusuke's spirit energy. He's running towards the villain, and then just disappears. Everyone's like, oh my god, he's so fucking fast. Turns out, this motherfucker just fucking falls on accident into a swamp. And then the shurikens, so the dude's gonna like power up and like kill Yusuke with his big ass spirit energy punch or whatever. The shurikens focus on him, blow him up, kill him with the swastikas. And then that's it.
Yeah.
So just to like go back, like Yusuke is like, you know what? I can't do this on my own. I'm just gonna die. Like, no big deal. Like, that's like the theme across every fucking fight in this entire series.
And like we were talking about, it's just like those JoJo write-offs things that he slipped on a banana peel.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. He might as well have right here.
But it does end after the season. After that, everyone's actually really held accountable to whatever they do.
You know what? I think I prefer that, to be honest. Because if season one's supposed to lull you in and like lead you into like this fun, like
Dumb fun,
story, you know what I mean? That feels like it has no repercussions. By even season 2, by the time you get to the Dark Tournament Saga, there really is like, dude, like people are dying. Like you are losing allies here.
Right.
And right here, the big final fight is
Kuwabara against the Krillin.
Kuwabara against like the small guy, the little guy. And Kuwabara's like, this can't be Rando. And Botan and Yusuke are like, we must have fucked up. Like, none of these people are Rando.
Maybe we beat him. Maybe he wasn't that strong. Maybe he fucked up.
So even in this dialogue, they're like, well, fuck, like, this little dude with the bald head, he's like, he's not strong enough. He's too modest. That's what actually Koenma says. He's like, he's too modest. He can't be Rando.
Right.
Yeah.
Plot twist is Rando.
Is Rando. Which is like, it's smart because you would want to be the least suspecting character if you were totally this maniacal demon person.
And like, I'm a dumbass watching it, and I'm like, oh yeah, for sure this guy's too fucking modest. Like, I'm an idiot. Like, this guy can't be Rando.
And then it, like, the whole thing that we saw at the beginning with Kuwabara, like, oh, just you can't die because I need to fight you. It's like, it flips.
Yeah.
Because Kuwabara gets his ass handed to him.
Because it's not only that like this last guy does get out of his Rando. He turns into Rando, and he has like 99 magical fucking powers that are super OP as fuck. And the main one that he uses is to turn his opponent small. So he makes Kuwabara like 3 inches tall and just breaks his arm. Like, this super dramatic, fucked up scene is just like, I'm tired of fucking around with you, dude. Like, I get you have a magical sword. I'm just gonna snap your wrist.
Like
his elbow, like at the elbow, and
like
it's just
Jacob's leg.
Oh my god! Like, it's so fucked up when you're watching it because it's like
It's cringy, dude.
Yeah,
It's brutal. Like, this dude fucking does this incantation where you're just sitting there like, in your own head, you're like, why are you fucking letting him do this incantation? He finishes it. Fucking Kuwabara gets like as big as a bug, and then he just tortures him.
Yep.
And then Yusuke gets this whole like, oh no, my friend can't fucking die. I'm so pissed. So he fights the little kid.
Right.
And I believe the little kid's like, it was like a tsunami technique or Eye of the Hurricane technique or some shit like that, where he just flings like energy blast at him.
Yeah.
But Yusuke is so mad that he's like, he's deflecting like all these attacks until he gets close to him.
Well, this is where we start getting the theme that Yusuke, like on a surface level, has really like a small footprint of spiritual pressure. But it's not until you threaten like the well-being of the people he cares about that he just like Super Saiyan Kotensei, like coming back from the dead, kind of like has this spiritual pressure magnification that's only there when he's trying to protect people. And that's exactly what happens here. It's like, dude, you fucked up my dumbass best friend. Now I have to kill you. Like, that's it. There's no... like, we're not going to debate this. So that's the joke, is that, like, this other guy's doing all these refined, like, spiritual techniques, and that he's stolen from all these other psychics, and he's totally going to be the big bad and take Genkai's spiritual wave technique. But Yusuke has one move, the spirit gun, which he hasn't used today. That's it. So he just gets him in a situation where he just corners him and just spirit guns him in the face, and he's like, that's it, dude, you win. And again, we have that kind of anime moment where it's like, oh, you totally beat me, but you didn't beat me, but you did beat me, but you didn't beat me, and I'm just gonna scream my head off for half an episode. And it's just a wind down from this season of the arc, or this arcing story in particular, because it almost seems like Kuwabara could have been Genkai's student here. Mm-hmm. Because Kuwabara was totally the standout during these tournament fights. Mm-hmm. But just because Yusuke got the last fucking spirit gun blast right here, now he has to be suckered into being Genkai's student. So they beat Rodan, or whatever the fuck his name was.
Rodan.
Something, yeah.
Who was the big bad that was trying to steal the spirit wave technique from Genkai. But what lulled Yusuke into doing the super hard task was Botan presented him with like baseball tickets or something. It was either soccer or baseball tickets.
A monster truck show.
It was a monster truck rally, and she's like, here, I have these badass tickets that are in the second row, and you can go if you win this thing, and they don't get Genkai's technique. So Yusuke's like, all right, I'm ready to go to the monster truck rally, and Genkai's like, what do you mean? You're not fucking leaving. You're now my student. And it's not even like a willingness thing. It's just like, dude, you won. I'm going to force you here against your will for the next 6 months to be this badass spiritual wave technique person.
And before he beats Rando, when he beats the swastika guy, he beats him because he dodged his attack by falling into a pond.
Yeah, like it's not skill. Like
when he falls into this pond, he got some algae in his ears, and when Rodan or Rando's demon, when he pulls the spell on him, the spell didn't work on him because he couldn't hear it because he had algae in his ear.
Right.
And then he shrinks himself, and at the end we just see fucking Yusuke beating the fuck out of like little baby demon.
So one of my big things here is like, okay, so Botan's like the Grim Reaper, right? She's like, hey, you're dead. I'm going to take you to fucking spirit world because you're dead and your spirit's mine. So Genkai's pretty much just like talking shit to her the whole time. She's like, why are you going to take him? Like, he's not dead yet. Like, Genkai is like this fucking apparition that's like above all apparitions. She's fucking talking shit
to the Grim Reaper.
Straight to the Grim Reaper. Who Botan takes like a superhuman, quote unquote, like experience, like, oh my god, don't kill Yusuke. Yusuke's gonna die. Help him. And Genkai's just like, I don't give a fuck. So,
yeah.
But by season 2, Genkai's like my favorite character.
No, Genkai by season 2 is fucking badass. But like by season 1, she just talks shit because she can, and nobody else
does anything about it.
can do anything about it either.
And I see your point as far as like, why would you talk shit about to the Grim Reaper himself or herself?
Right.
But I guess like when it comes to like more the American culture and stuff like that, I guess we're made to believe that the Grim Reaper is a bad entity, as to where in Japanese culture it's more of a just entity. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Like there's a morality aspect.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Like like death is gonna be where death has to be, you know, like
no matter what.
Yeah, like Gandalf. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
Because you're right, so that's what happens here, but because like Yusuke is supposed to be this badass spirit detective for Koenma, he's now for this next 6 months like tied up to Genkai. And Genkai's like really working him. She's like making him do like one-fingered handstands and stuff, and like upping up his spirit potential.
Like the fucking blade itself. Like,
yep.
Hold this for 12 hours.
Because before, Yusuke could only use his spirit gun once in 24 hours. By the end of his training with Genkai, he has like different ways of using the spirit gun technique, and he can use it multiple times in one day.
And this is so like. And I want to emphasize of how good this anime is for its time.
Yeah.
Because now I'm seeing parallels to like My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
Midoriya, he almost killed himself. He almost broke his arms off, you know, trying to not control this power that he has and trying to control it. And now we see that Yusuke is using the initial part of his spirit gun to focus his energy and the tip of his finger to balance on this fucking nail spike. Fucking X-Acto knife might as well be.
Yeah. But season 2 gets so much better. Oh my god, I can't like, not to jump the gun, but like the training and everything with season 2 and everything gets so much more in depth.
Well, we saw a little bit of this. Well, at least I saw a little bit of this because I watched it in Hulu and I watched 28 episodes of this. So I watched a glimpse of that training that they did towards the end. But anyways.
Yeah, the last little major arcing saga in him being the actual spirit detective, because in later seasons, he's not even a spirit detective. They kind of dropped like that whole premise because his last spirit detective task is the town of Tokyo is being possessed by bugs that turn people into zombies.
Right.
So Yusuke has to defeat the 4 beasts of the maze castle to undo like this curse on these bugs that are turning his teachers and students into zombies.
And again, it turns into like the Hunter x Hunter tower one, the one that they go through. The tower one, right? Not the tower. What am I thinking of? In the exam, they go through those rooms and they have to fight like certain people.
Yeah, it was like a tower. Like I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah.
Well, basically, humanity is on the brink of extinction. Yusuke and Kobara figure out like, okay, these bugs are taking control of these people. So now we have to go figure out like why this is happening. And then they're the 4 saints or the 4
demon saints?
It's like the 4 demon saints or something like that.
The 4 demon saints. So Yusuke goes and he is aided by Kobara. And so at this point,
which it's funny when this happens because like the situation that you're describing is like it's supposed to be Yusuke's back after 6 months. He's gonna go back to school and just be a regular student.
But he got all this badass training from Genkai.
Right. So now he's this even better spiritual detective, but he's going to take his girl out on a date, right? Like he's going to take Keiko out. And then like, so they're going to go to the movies. And then at the last second, like Kuwabara and Yusuke start noticing that there's fucking demon possessed zombies around. And they just kind of ditch Keiko. And Botan shows up and she's like, hey, so I don't know if you noticed, but there's bugs turning everybody into zombies. And they're like, yeah, I know, dude. Can you tell us what to do? So she transports them to a portion of the demon world where they're at, where she's going to be like protecting like Keiko. And it's this funny moment because in a couple episodes before, Yusuke and Botan were talking on the roof of Yusuke's high school with Botan in a school uniform. Keiko goes up and sees that Yusuke's talking to another girl, even though he never shows up to school. So it like blows her mind that like her man's even talking to another girl when he doesn't socialize with anybody. So we spend like the next 4 or 5 episodes in the background. Like it's like the C plot here, not even the B plot. The C plot is
Keiko's jealous.
Botan is interacting with Keiko while Keiko is convinced that she's actually hooking up with Yusuke.
And then this is where we get badass red leather fucking.
Yeah, this is my favorite Botan character model for whatever reason. They really put her in like a maroon leather like biker outfit.
Might as well be what is the girl from NGE? The Miss the girl with a penguin?
You keep asking me things without looking them up. Like I'm supposed to magically know what they are. Like I don't know, dude. Like I don't remember things like that.
Misuko? Yeah. You're
Where
right.
she has a pet penguin and she's like the fucking oldest adult in the room, but she's like,
But she has the same vibe to her with this red.
But Botan's character model is better, so she matters more.
Okay, she matters more. Best girl.
So for real, this is where Botan's really best girl, because she's really out here with like a metal bat and just beating the shit out of zombies and trying to protect Keiko.
Not using magic at all.
No magic. The Grim
not at
Reaper
all.
would never use magic in this instance for whatever reason.
so like Yusuke and fucking Korbara find these fucking 5 guys that are possessed by we find out are bugs or whatever. So they're fucking them up, and then they're like going through this fucking ditch or whatever the case is, and then Botan just hits him with a bat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Best girl. Because
Botan is Speedwagon of best girls.
It is.
Oh.
She's really convenient. She's always there, and she has this like she's just always attached at the hip with Yusuke for whatever reason.
Misato is the girl that I'm thinking of.
I love Misato, but Botan is best girl. Like.
No, I agree. And like it's almost funny that you're comparing it to Speedwagon, because it's like
Everybody knows Speedwagon is best girl.
Yeah,
Speedwagon
who we're talking about from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but there's scenes before Yusuke comes back and he's still a spirit that you assume almost that like Botan's gonna hook up with Yusuke because they're having really close like face-to-face interactions. Like they write it in a way that they want you to believe like, no, there might be something here.
Yeah, they write it in a way that you feel that Botan, what is her name? Botan is getting her panties rattled for him.
But it's not. It's totally like just.
But it's not, yeah.
It's just with those instances where nerds are like, yeah, she's totally into me, blah, blah, blah.
Because she
blah.
lent me a pencil.
Yeah. You just needed a pencil, you weirdo. And so this is where we start getting this parallel story happening. So it's Kuwabara and Urameshi in this other reality demon world thing in the Beast of the Maze Castle, with Botan in the real world with Keiko trying to fight off these zombie people.
Which Yusuke's like, hey, I fucked up. I left Botan at the I left Keiko at the movies. Like, fix this for me.
Right. And Botan's like, what do you mean? I'm not gonna go fix your
And
date.
he's like, okay, bye. Off to save the world. See ya.
Sends a side girl to take.
Yeah. Go save my main girl, side girl. And that's what's also funny here, because it's like it's a time limit, but it's also not a time limit, because in I don't know how the manga is written, but in the anime, they really give time that like, no, there's 4 bosses in the Maze Castle. So we're going to give each of them their own time and their own fight, whatever. But in the B plot here, it's like, no, dude, like bugs are infecting other bugs who are infecting other people who are infecting other people into zombies. So like, if you don't resolve this in like 48 hours, like all of humanity is dead. And that, so like the first couple fights here are like, it's almost funny how long it takes our group to fight them, because it's Yusuke and Kuwabara, but then Hiei
and
Kurama join in with them, because
they're trying to hold up this fucking like
falling ceiling.
Yeah, the ceiling that's falling down, and Yusuke's like, Hiei, you're the fastest of all of us. There's a fucking lever like right there. Dude, we can all hold this. We're stronger than you, but you're faster than us. Go like flip this off so we can like live.
And like that part of the maze is called the the
it's like the fucking...
what's that word when you do wrong for someone? Like when you...
the disservice or some shit like that.
Yeah, what do you call when you do something bad for someone? When you sabotage them? No, not sabotage, but like when you...
It's not great. I know what you're talking about, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know what you're talking about. And so essentially, they're like, look, Hiei, we're all strong. You're strong, but you're also faster. Like, go fucking flip the switch so we can fucking live. And so Hiei fucking goes, and then this little, like, ghost eyeball, whatever, that's like the same fucking eye in... what's that fucking anime?
The eye?
The eye...
Oh, that little bat thing?
Yeah, the little bat thing. It's the same voice actor as... God damn it, what's that other anime?
Traitor. I'm thinking about the word traitor for that chamber. Because somebody... So the main thing about that chamber of that ceiling falling on you...
It's supposed to be to betray your friends, right?
There go betrayal.
Yeah.
Like a betrayal chamber that someone can escape and everybody else dies because that chamber, for some fucking reason, knows the strength level of every member in that chamber, and it's putting the amount of pressure on top of that.
Right.
So that's why Yusuke is like, yo, bro, I'm just gonna start putting all my spiritual energy on this, and you're gonna have about a couple of seconds so you can hit that lever.
Yeah.
But it's the betrayal chamber or some shit like that, because one of them gets to live while all the other ones get squished.
Right. And it's... That's what I think is crazy about season 1, because all these little, like, trials don't matter by latter seasons.
Honestly, it was the most annoying part for me about this season.
Just there's, like, little quips that are just meant to, like, piss you off for, like, all of 5 minutes. Because even by the next part, you get the next big fight where it's... they fight a rock band. What's his name with the whip?
Karama?
Kurama
Kurama has a
Kurama. I almost
Rose
pronounced it Karima.
Rose whip.
Right.
Yeah.
Kurama has it's totally 90s 80s shonen because it's a 1-for-1 anime fight, right? Yeah. So Kurama has to fight the first villain of the Maze Beast, which is this rock guy. And it's this one of the members of the 4 beasts of the Maze Castle or whatever. But he's like the weakest member because obviously it turns into this trope of like, if our 4-party team is Yusuke, Kuwabara, Hiei, and why do I always remember the fourth one?
Kurama?
Kurama. I always forget Kurama's name. I don't know why. So if it's this 4-person team, the rest of the anime or of this arc is just each person having their own individual fight. So Kurama is going to fight the rock guy. And he seems like he's fucking Golem like in Pokemon. You know what I mean? He's just like this rock monster who just seems almost indestructible until Kurama pulls out this super specific power that he has like a magic rose whip thing with thorns.
It reminds me of Kokion because of his Emerald Splash. I don't know, it seems very natural.
Right. And Hiei's describing it as just like, oh, that can cut through anything natural. There's no way this guy lives through this. But because he's a rock monster, he can rebuild himself? Which, like, I guess, I don't know. But this is, again, what makes it super an anime fucking ending is, like, when the rock guy is, like, splitting apart and coming back together, there's a certain subsection that glows red.
Classic anime.
Yeah, it's like heart. Or in the anime, they describe it as, like, a cerebrum. And you hear Kurama describing it as, like, yeah, this is the part of you that's like your cerebellum. And if I contain this part of you, then you can't reconjoin your rock pieces together properly. And he just cuts it, and that's like the end of the fight.
Yeah, and like there's this funny joke about his head being in his crotch.
Yeah,
it's funny, but that was like the first demon, right?
Yeah.
Then we come across to the next demon,
who's probably the better one. He gets like 4 or 5 episodes. Everyone else gets like 1-2 episodes.
White Tiger or something guy. Yeah, really cool because I love
Byakuo.
Kuwabara's like.
That's what I'm saying. Like in season 1, especially, like I appreciate the episodes where Kuwabara takes a focus more than anybody else, because if his name's Byakko the White Tiger, his thing is he can like detach pieces of his mane to create like spirit demons, and those spirit demons like will attack whoever, right? So Kuwabara having only a sword like can't defeat all of them all at once.
Fucking human centipedes, all fucking 5 of them.
Right. So he wraps them around a tower, elongates his spirit sword to the point that it connects all of them like ass to mouth.
And like a javelin.
And that's how it defeats them. Which is such like a cheesy fucking ending, but like that's why I like Kuwabara, because it's like he's so stupid, but he's powerful. You know what I mean?
Ass to mouth, bro. That's all. You had me on ass to mouth.
He gets so much more important in season 3. Throwing that out there. Anyway.
That's not even the end of the Byakko fight, because now you actually have to fight Byakko, and everyone's like, else is like, dude, Kuwabara, you're totally tired from your past fight. Why don't you let somebody else fight? And he's just like, no, stay over there, you fucking pussies. You come over here, I'm gonna kill you. There's no way. And it's not only that Kuwabara keeps trying to extend his spirit sword to like spend more energy and like cut Byakko harder, but Byakko can absorb his spirit energy. So the more Kuwabara tries to attack him, the bigger and stronger Byakko gets.
And just like Hunter x Hunter, the benched fighters on the side is for the audience. They're like, oh, look, Kuwabara's making all the attacks, but yet it seems like he's getting weaker.
Yeah, all the exposition's coming from the side characters.
Yeah.
As opposed to it happening naturally. It's strictly meant for the audience. But it's not... Kurama notices it at first. He's like, if you can get enough energy into Byakko, maybe he'll erupt, or he's weak enough and big enough that you can like push him over the ledge or whatever the fuck. And that's what ends up happening. But Byakko still isn't fucking dead, because they get out of there, they push him off the roof because Kuwabara gave him enough spirit energy that he couldn't move, and you're like, okay, cool, easy fight, whatever. They go a level down, and they're in like a room full of lava with fucking stone pillars. And
no big deal, by the way. Just
no big deal. and Byakko's there just again, and he's just like, "Oh, you thought I was defeated," which is such like a JoJo's like typical shonen kind of thing.
You thought, bitch.
You thought?
Like, yeah, but then we see Kuwabara get shirtless, like Drew got shirtless one time, and it's super cool because again we see level-headed Kuwabara, even though he's a blockhead, but he has a plan. And now we see another ability by the white tiger. What's his name? Byakko, about his like roar that disintegrates dimension material.
Right, he's using like his larynx as like a method to shoot out spirit energy. So he like squeezes his own throat out to like send out like a spiritual wavelength to destroy the
pillars that he's standing on.
The stone pillars that Kuwabara is standing on. And again, they're like, Kuwabara, just let us help you. He's like, don't move, you fucking pussies, or else I'm gonna kill myself. And this is again one of the instances that I appreciated that it was actually thought out beforehand. Because it's like, Kuwabara's trapped, right? He can't get out, except forward. And even then, he's not going to reach the pillar Byakko's on. And Kuwabara jumps, and you think he's going to use, like, the spirit sword to cut off the pillar, and maybe he'll fall into the lava or something. But out of his ass, we kind of saw it, but it's the power to elongate the sword.
Like a javelin almost, or like a staff jump or some shit like that.
Right here he uses it as like a long jump javelin that you would use in like an Olympic event to get over a jump. Mm-hmm. So he uses that to get up and knock Byakko into the lava. Which is like, it's cheesy, it doesn't really show like Kuwabara's power, but it does not feel like it was thought of spur of the moment. Like, it really feels like it was planned out ahead of time.
Yeah, no, and it's good. It's good. The last fight, he dies, and at this point, we finish the second demon. The second, right?
Byakko's the second one.
Yeah. Byakko's the second one.
There's still 2 more left.
Yeah, there's still 2 more left. which we go into. Who was the third one? I can't remember the third one. I think it was Anisia's
His
one.
name is Seryu, the blue dragon.
Oh, that's Ice Guy. Mm-hmm. Yes, and what's his name? Hiei is the one that fights him.
Yeah.
Which, if you keep watching on the rest of season 1, rest of season 2, Ice with Hiei's fire has like a really, really big impact into it, which I'll save for another season, but continue.
No, yeah, Seryu the Blue Dragon is like second in charge of these demon cults or whatever. And he seemed to be OP when he's introduced, even though Byakko had like 3-4 episodes. Seryu only gets like 1, which kind of feels like a cop-out, but it's meant to lead up to Hiei as like a prequel to what you're describing, Roby.
Hiei has such a good backstory, like all the tropes that are like negative Hiei versus Hiei himself, it's just so good. Like, I don't want to get too much into season 2, but like, god damn, it's so good.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like now that I'm thinking about it, and what you're mentioning is like there's like this duality with Ice, because even her sister towards the end of the season, like she goes into like the ice
Apparitions and everything.
Forest or whatever the fuck that was.
We figure out more as we go on, but anyway.
Yeah, so Seryu, the Blue Dragon, the second in command of this group of demons, his power is to literally punch something, steal the energy from it, like kinetic energy, to the point that it freezes them. So if you punch somebody hard enough, the negative kinetic force would take away all like the heat from it and make it freeze, which is smart. You know what I mean? Like, it feels so smart in that moment. And like, I know the more you break it down, it's just like, wow, like, what are you talking about? But like, in that second, it's just like, wow, I wish I had thought of that. Like,
again, it
so
feels
obvious.
like JoJo stand powers.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing about it is, it's just like, Hiei has a sword and he's super fast, like you were describing earlier with the lever. But here it's just like, okay, Hiei, get in there and kill him. And for like half a second, you hear Kurama explain like, oh no, he froze his legs. Hiei won't be able to move as quickly.
Oh no.
Oh no. But Hiei moved so quickly in what they thought was one slash. He had slashed Seryu like 30-40 times or something stupid.
And I love this because once the blue dragon, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, once the blue dragon is like, haha, you didn't even scratch me. You can see like the panel or like the screen like shift like diagonally.
Like his vision was cut in half or something.
Yeah, and it was because he got fucking slashed multiple times.
Right. And it's cool. You know what I mean? Because again, it leads up to subsequent Hiei arcs and stories. But that leaves so much time. This is like episode 17, 18. And we still, the season 1 ends on like episode 25. We have like all this time to conclude the final fight, which we know is going to be with Yusuke. Because if every fighter's been getting one villain, then we know the real big bad here is going to be dealt with by Yusuke.
Uh-huh. And we get to this final tower of the Maze Castle, surrounded by what I think was like a super cheap construct to the story with like the human zombies.
Yeah. And
like the cultivated human zombies. And you mean to tell me that 3 people that we just watch fight are being deterred by like this wave of like weird fucking zombies. And they were able to jump Yusuke into the tower.
Right.
But like it's just so, I don't know, it felt cheap to me that these fucking green zombies just were able to hold back.
It is, because in season 2 it makes so much more sense.
But why?
Because Tagoro.
Oh, I agree. It's because there's like a human aspect to it. Okay. So like I guess the main deterrent right here is just like, yes, they're weak human green zombies, but because half of our expedition team here is humans, they're supposed to have like this
feel
empathy,
for them?
this empathetic feel. So, but like still, there's not a resolution here like you're describing. Like they don't get that epiphany that you would think if that was the big deterrent here.
If you turn into a zombie, I'm gonna kill you, Drew.
No, I agree. You totally should. But
I would kind of let you see what happened and then go from there.
Yeah.
I think that's waiting too long,
Yeah,
to be honest. I think the minute somebody shows zombie symptoms, you shoot them in the face.
Yeah, or COVID symptoms.
So
I have seen enough in life to where I would kind of just see what happens.
that's terrifying.
That is terrifying. Robbie here is a nurse, guys. So just for context,
has beaten cancer and COVID, but
in the same week. I'm just playing on
basically, and I just kind of want to see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah. But
we go into our last fight.
Going into the last fight here, it's with Suzaku, which is like the most typical anime name ever. Like, how many times have we met a character named... Yeah, like Suzaku Todoroki, or just there's a million Suzakus in all of anime, especially shonen. And the thing about this guy is that he is a demon who has a magical flute that's controlling the bugs that turn people into zombies. But that's not even his main power in combat. So you see Yusuke being like, okay, I'm gonna spirit gun you in the face. And his main power here is to like diverge his spirit energy to turn into like 7 different Suzakus. And those 7 different Suzakus harness lightning force through their demon spirit energy and project it back at their villain.
And Yusuke's just getting electrocuted.
Yeah.
Like, he's getting wrecked the fuck up. Because now, I mean, we haven't even talked about it, but because of the training he did, he has this new shotgun spirit gun thing.
Right. So if the regular spirit gun is he harnesses the energy into like his index finger and just like shoots like a gun outward.
And it's more precise.
Yeah, the shotgun is literally like, I'm just going to hold all this spirit energy on my fist and just project it outward like 8 different ways. Mm-hmm. Which is how he tries to defeat the Suzaku clones here. And the thing about the Suzaku clones is if you don't defeat all of them at once, Suzaku won't die. Mm-hmm. Which is, it sucks because it's like one clone could be hiding behind the corner. And if you don't defeat that one guy, then you have to fight them all over again.
Yeah, literally you could tell one of the clones to jet and that's it.
Yeah. And the big trick here with Suzaku by the end is that he clearly underestimates Yusuke's ability as
because he's a human. He's like, you dirty human.
Well, yes and no. He doesn't, but at the point, he's like, you know what? Kuwabara throws a bunch of spirit energy his way.
Yeah. Yeah, because Yusuke almost gets him with the shotgun. And you think he's almost defeated all the clones. And he's like dying on the ground. He's like, okay, cool. I don't have any spirit energy, but at least I did it. And Kuwabara is just like, oh, Yusuke, I still have all this extra energy. I'm just going to give it to you, bro. I love you so much.
I hate you so much, but I love you.
I hate you so much, but I love you so much. And it just like throws the spirit energy at him. Yusuke gets up again, shotguns him in the face again, and Suzaku's still not dead. But there's a magical mirror in this room that shows that Botan and Keiko are about to get eaten by the zombies that are controlled by the bugs that are being controlled by Suzaku here. So that's where we get this reoccurring theme that Yusuke only gets his power up when people he cares about are in danger. So he sees Keiko's about to die. He's just like, you hurt my Keiko! And like he goes like fucking Super Saiyan on the bitch.
Which is like Season 2, Season 3, Season 4, that's like the main fucking power-up to fucking everything.
It's the same trope along the whole fucking series.
But it's done so well, I can't even get mad.
Yep.
Honestly, now that we talk about it, I did see it, but I didn't even care.
Yeah.
That I was seeing it.
Okay, so like, Season 2, he's going to the dark tournament, and he's fighting this really, really big bad dude. And at that point, some shit happens to where, like, some deeper shit is gonna happen, and it unravels, and you're like, you know what? I'm alright with it. And then it does, and you're like, you're sitting back, looking back, and you're like,
I knew it was coming.
No. You're like, fuck, that was actually really good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And then you just let it happen.
That's what I'm saying about Yoshihiro Takagashi's like writing here is like I cannot believe that you love Yu Yu Hakusho so much and you've never seen Hunter x Hunter. Like Hunter x Hunter is literally like
refined.
all these well-defined tropes and all these great story plots that you're describing, which I understand why you like it. You know what I mean? But in Hunter x Hunter, it's clearly just like a well-defined box of just all these lessons he's learned as a writer and just putting them into a more concise anime. And the thing about the guy, about the author of the manga that we've talked about previously is that he's dying. You know what I mean? Like, he literally has like degenerative disorders that prevent him from writing subsequent chapters. And it's crazy that like these powerhouses of anime, of like shonen manga tropes and writing that you see in bits of everything else, are being taken away from somebody with so much talent because he has these like precognitive disorders. You know what I mean? It's sad. It's super disappointing because it's like, how many other talents have we lost in the industry preemptively? We lost the author to Berserk like 3-4 months ago. And that's super disappointing. And the thing about, I don't know how much you know about Togashi here. His wife is the author of Sailor Moon. So he's put out interviews before where he's talked about how he's coached his wife on his writing style, his drawing style, and he's outlined the plot to Hunter x Hunter. And he's like, yo, when I die, I need you to finish it. Because he flat out can't do it on his own anymore. And these are like 4 or 5-year-old interviews at this point.
And I don't think we're gonna see the end of Hunter x Hunter ever.
I think we might after he dies. I think right now he's very convinced that he's gonna die sometime soon, even though he's been saying that for 5 years. But to the point that his wife is confident enough that like she can write it after.
I mean, she's a pillar to the anime
Oh
industry.
yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Like imagine like that household. It's just like, yo, I wrote Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter. My wife wrote fucking Sailor Moon.
Their kids are probably gonna write something.
Yeah, imagine like who could tell that household anything about manga or anime at that point?
Who is gonna fucking argue like, you know what? This won't work, but this will.
Yeah. Like, why would they take notes from anybody else at that point?
Yeah, it almost reminds me of like the daughter-father duo with Beastars and Maki. You know what I'm saying? It's it's just crazy. But anyways, with B, the 4th fucking beast demon,
Suzaku.
the flute comes back into the power of the good guys. The humanity is safe. Keiko and Botan are safe now. Botan with her red fucking leather outfit,
not
they're
necessarily.
safe.
Dude, you have to. And like, just as a big fan, dude, you have to finish season 2, 3, and 4.
And
like,
we'll have you back here for those seasons.
No, like, even me aside that, like, it is just so fucking good.
And for me, at this point of Yu Yu Hakusho, it gets a little bit awkward because the pacing here, I feel like I'm already done with the season.
Right.
I feel
it's like episode 21, and you're like, okay, cool, that was it.
But
that was it. But
it gets so much better.
But as far as like the season 1, we have like this ending arc to it, which it's setting up a setup to the second season.
Which is the only anime I can think of ever where the last 4 episodes of a season are setting up the next season.
But it's setting up the setup to it.
Right.
Because
it's setting up the setup to the setup. Like,
exactly. Because I watched it on Hulu. I watched 28 episodes because that's how Hulu has it set up. But these next 4 episodes include a mob side billionaire human trafficking kind of.
It gets so much better after that. And then even after that, like, the fucking final season, you're like... So, time out. After finishing the entire season of this entire anime, it's satisfying.
No,
That's
absolutely.
it. That's it.
It's
Like,
absolutely.
I have no other tropes other than to say than, you know what? The author wrote everything out.
Yep.
And
He storyboarded ahead of time.
he storyboarded ahead of time. The power levels are laid out. And the fucking essential character does it all.
Yeah. And like
That's it. That's it.
no, I agree with you because if season 2 is all about like the Dark Tournament saga, the last 4 episodes are just about how
Saving Hai's sister?
right, but not even that. It
goes so much further. Oh my God, much further.
If the subtext in the Dark Tournament saga is that not only do demons exist, but that there's like rich billionaire people and demons that are manipulating the system to like get what they want. The last 4 episodes here are leading up to that. It's just like what's the saying? Capitalism corrupts all, right? So it's just like you can be the best person possible, but if you have trillions on trillions of dollars worth of assets, you will go against your own best interests because you feel like you need to flex your own wealth.
It reminds me of my government.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because the last 4 episodes here are Hiei has a sister who cries tears that are diamonds, essentially. Pearls that are worth like billions of dollars by themselves. Like she could cry 7 tears; those are $7 billion, right? So
Every cry creates a brand new pearl.
Every cry creates a brand new pearl. So by the end of this final arc, it's just it's not to provide a resolution. It's just to show you how far Yusuke and Kuwabara have come. Because it's just like, hey, Botan, Kuwabara, and Yusuke, go break into this billionaire's mansion, break this girl out, and defeat all the demons there. And it's really, it feels wholesome at the time.
It does, because, again, Kuwabara being the center of this goddamn anime, he's feeling, what's her name? Not Keiko. What's his sister's name?
Oh, Hiei's sister?
His sister has better fucking abundance than everybody else.
But what's her name? Anyways, as they're running through this almost Dio mansion of Crusaders style arc, he's feeling her, and he's like, and she is telling him like, get the fuck out of here, bro. Like, the last person that tried to help me, like, got his legs broken. Like, my friend Jacob.
Yukina.
And it feels wholesome. And I don't know, I love Usopp. And you told me I was weird that I loved Usopp in One Piece in the first seasons.
Usopp fucking sucks.
But I love Kuwabara. Like, Kuwabara is so good, bro. Like, I can't help it.
And I think the writing style wants you to believe that because he's like the lovable dumbass. You know what I mean? It's like,
Usopp is the lovable dumbass, bro.
The joke about Usopp in like current canon in One Piece is that like all his lies in the first initial episodes become true.
That's what CJ was saying.
And that's the thing is that the lies get more extravagant the more the anime goes on, which is like 1,020 chapters, right? So at this point, it's like he can accomplish anything because he's lied about everything at this point.
Yeah,
like he's literally the most OP character if you're treating that as canon.
It almost reminds me of like sorry to go off topic here, but like orc like lore and like so there's this very specific lore in I can't remember what it was, but because orcs believe so, it becomes because they have like this magical essence to them. So if orcs believe they can breathe in space, they do.
What was this from? Where are you stealing this from?
I can't fucking remember right now, but I will, and I will give you that tidbit in the next episode.
I expect those cliff notes later.
Yes, those cliff notes. But yeah, it's just like Kuwabara at this point. having all those connections with Hiei's sister, it just makes it more wholesome because they have to be. And then we get into like this she-male character, this trans character,
which is
really,
like my least favorite piece of writing in this whole thing. So
For who?
So what ends up happening is when Hiei and Kuwabara are trying to break into the mansion, they start getting subsequent back-to-back fights of demons that the Toguro brothers are throwing at them to protect their billionaire philanthropist like sponsor, right? One of them is a person that identifies as a female, has a male pair of genitalia and a phallus, and Yusuke realizes that because when they both jump in the air, he fondles her, notices her junk, and tells her flat out like, hey, if you really want to be a man, stop being half-assed about it and like really embrace that shit.
And like the first conflict is like,
Yusuke, you're not gonna fight a girl, are you? You're not gonna punch a
girl, and then Yusuke's like, fuck that, equal opportunity, motherfucker.
Right, I almost felt it for a second, because I was like, okay, that's progressive writing, because he's like, yeah, equal opportunity, motherfucker. Like, she's a fighter, like, come at me.
If you want to go that route, in Trigun, episode like 22, same shit happens.
And that's what I'm starting to notice about like animes in the 80s and 90s, is that like there's trans writing that just wasn't there yet. Like, they want to introduce the characters, but they don't want to treat them properly.
Correct.
Because what happens right here is Yusuke is like, yeah, you know what, girl boy? If you want to be a man, don't be half-assed about being a man. Just be a full man.
Be a man.
Which is like, that's not the point. You know what I mean? That is completely not the point. Like, if she does not identify herself as such, then you can't decide that for her. And even if she is a fighter, like, you are identifying masculine features, even though we've seen Botan and Keiko and Master Genkai as being really high-powered women, and now you're telling us that, like, no, she identifies as a woman, she should be weaker, but she has a pair of genitalia, so she should be stronger than she's identifying. That's such like juvenile way of thinking. It hurts my brain trying to describe it.
And not just that, like, the anime is showing you this in context that she's uncomfortable with what Yusuke is doing.
Yeah.
She's frustrated. She almost feels deterrent to her own abilities because of what Yusuke is saying and doing.
Yeah, which doesn't make sense, because if you were this is a 20-something-year-old trans person demon who might be even thousands of years old or something like that, you would know how you identify, so you would not be worried about a 14-year-old being like, hey, you have a dick, you should be identified as a man, whatever. That wouldn't happen.
No.
That's like the one piece of writing in all of season 1 that I really want to pick a bone with.
No,
it's just the trans writing.
It's a broken bone, like my friend Jacob's leg. It's just, it doesn't really fit.
You keep throwing this in, but the audience doesn't know what you're describing.
No, I know.
What's happened is our friend Jacob Mendeville, who was on
episode 1 of season 2.
Season 2, episode 1, for the Fire Force episode, he broke his leg this past weekend. Both his tibia and his fibula. Yesterday. And he's like super fucked up and has to have surgery twice within the same week.
But it's awesome.
It's
actually not that.
It's not that awesome. It sounds terrible.
And yeah, but like we lead into like fighting these next demons until we get into like the Kurugo brothers?
What are the names? The Toguro brothers.
Toguro brothers, yes.
Because they have a group of demons that work under them, but the Toguro brothers, like, the fights under them don't really matter. The last one that matters is maybe the Toguro brothers, because they have been hired by this billionaire who has a...
Sakio.
Sakio, who has a committee of friends, air quotes friends, of people that he plays bets with. And he's like, hey, people are breaking into my mansion. Who wants to bet billions on billions of dollars into what's going to happen next? And they'll be like, yeah, I'll bet $100 billion that your people are going to beat the group of insurgents that are breaking into the
Bro,
building.
it was like a dumbass number, like 5,360,546,000,000 for the bet.
Right.
Because one of his quote unquote friends, he was like, I bet these kids are gonna fuck you up.
Yeah. Because the whole point of this betting group is that, like, if you have the money available, even that it counts like your total assets, you have to take the bet, which is bullshit. Like, you know what I mean? If somebody was like, "Hey, Drew, you have $20,000. You need to make this bet, whatever the fuck I decide," I'm like, "Go fuck yourself." Like, I'm not betting all that.
Yeah. Shake my hand, Drew. Shake it. Shake it.
Never. Why would I do that?
Yeah.
And the whole point of that is to show that Yusuke and Kuwabara fighting together can fight the Takura brothers, who their only powers are, one can use more of his power to turn bigger and stronger and pump energy into his muscles, and the other can turn into a weapon
Or anything.
anything
Pretty much.
and that is just all a setup for season 2. Like, these 4 or 5 episodes at the tail end of season 1 are just all to be like, hey, the Toguro brothers are still part of season 2 and they're still terrifying as fuck. And that's it. That's all of season 1 of Yu Yu Hakusho.
I thought it was great. I had a lot of fun this week compared to last week with Death Note. And I'm sorry, Valentin. Come on. Just come on.
Yeah, I'm glad that we didn't shit on Yu Yu Hakusho, and maybe he'll still keep giving us advice.
Absolutely. Yeah. He also loves Yu Yu Hakusho. So.
Last thoughts, Mr. Roby?
Death Note takes itself way too much seriously.
Yep.
Yu Hakusho does. Keiko doesn't.
Hiccup. But yeah, that was episode 62 of Between Nerds, Yu Yu Hakusho. Robbie, thank you so much for this fantastic fucking
Discussion.
this anime. I had so much fun. But shall we go into the nerd down?
Yeah, nerd down.
Nerd down.
Nerd down.
Hey guys, welcome to the Nerd Down, where the nerds get down. We are back with the Nerd Down for episode 62 of Between Nerds podcast. And at the beginning of the Nerd Down, I do want to reiterate that everyone should use hashtag Diabetic Nerds in original tweet or Instagram post to be entered into our September giveaway. I think you have like 4 more days upon hearing this to be entered into the giveaway. And for every like and retweet on an original tweet or Instagram post that includes hashtag Diabetic Nerds, we will be donating to the El Paso Diabetic Association Incorporated.
Yes, and please, guys, come on. We know you guys are listening. We know that we have 270 different IPA addresses where this podcast is being transmitted through in the United States.
That's true.
So thank you so much for District of Columbia. Thank you so much.
We have at least 52 original IP addresses being recorded in Japan alone. I know you have an English keyboard on your Japanese kanji keyboard. Just please use hashtag Diabetic Nerds. It's all right. You can help poor diabetic people in El Paso. It's all right.
Correct.
It's all right.
And please text us 80 listeners, 72 listeners in the District of Columbia, Virginia, California, Nevada. Hit us up. We're not shy. We're not gonna not look at your things, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and if you have any like questions, comments, or concerns you want to give us, please hit us up at Between Nerds. That's on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. I don't even know what else, but you can also email us betweennerdpodcast@gmail.com. And
France, Australia, Italy, please hit us up. We know you speak English. Why else would you? Send us something in your language. We'll translate it. We got Google. Like, we don't give a fuck.
Right. And even besides all that, like, when it comes to this Nerd Down right now, I'm almost at a loss on what to speak about. Because I feel like it's a great week for things that we cover, but we ourselves have not watched any of it. Because For example, the Star Wars animated
Visions. Star Wars Visions.
Star Wars Visions came out this past week. I have not been able to watch any of it. And I understand it to be really good, and I understand like that some of the actual Star Wars nerds are really upset about it because it's taking air quotes too much from Japanese media or whatever, which like if you watch old George Lucas interviews, he took almost exclusively for episode 1 for A New Hope
From Japanese culture.
He took so much from 21 Samurais. And he will admit it. He will tell you flat out. He took whole scenes from this old samurai movie that came out of Japan in like the 60s.
And that's why Mando was so great too, because it translated some Western and some samurai aspects to the story.
Right.
You know? And I don't know. I watched like maybe like the first half of episode 1, and it's all translated in like this black and white ink splatter.
Oh, that's tight.
Animation. It's really good. And but yeah, we got a super crazy drop for Nintendo Direct.
The Nintendo Direct was really cool, and I think the aspect me and Aldo cared about the most was the what are they even calling it?
Donkey Kong 64.
They're calling it the Nintendo Direct Plus, which is like. Originally, Aldo described it maybe like 2-3 weeks ago that you can play.
I already have it.
Yeah, you can play SNES games on your Nintendo Switch,
and
right?
original Nintendo.
Yeah, and original Nintendo games. But now you can start playing N64 games along as Sega Genesis games,
which is a pillar on its own.
Right, on the
64.
Nintendo Switch. So, like what got me excited is like.
Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, all I talk about every week is like, I just want to play a port of Ocarina of Time. I don't give a shit about anything else. Like, Majora's too. Like, I do love Majora's. Don't get me wrong. But they said that that's going to be a part of it. But not originally. But what annoys me about Nintendo press conferences and how Nintendo does everything is like they'll tease you. It's like Konami. Like there's something about Japanese game companies that are like, "Hey, we're gonna tease you forever about one. Yeah. We're gonna tickle your G spot about one thing forever, but you're never gonna finish."
I like how you knew what I was doing
until 9 fucking months later. So we don't even know when we're getting the N64 plugs on Nintendo Switch Direct.
Butt plugs?
We don't even know. And that's what's so annoying because it's like, bro, when can I play Ocarina of Time? And then how long after that can I play Majora's Mask? Like, that's all I give a shit about. Like, the only game I'm going to buy for my Nintendo Switch within the next 6 months is probably going to be the Mario Party one. That just like steals from N64 maps.
Mm-hmm. Oh, which the 64 maps were fucking amazing.
Yeah, I remember the Boo one, and I'm showing it to my girlfriend Karen, and I'm just like, this is all we've been doing for the past 3 weeks. Is me and her just get blitzed and just play fucking Mario Party for the Switch.
I like it in Blitz. Robbie, do you like it in Blitz?
I'm pretty sure.
I'm sorry, Robbie. You did not know what you were walking into.
To be fair, I have a lot of demons I gotta fucking mute.
And you muted them.
muted every single one of them. So cheers, brother.
Cheers. And sometimes I don't think the average person realizes how much we're fucking compensating to get talkable, to get talkative during these recording sessions.
Right now, on our pee break, I was just talking to Vinay. It's so weird seeing a normal person drink.
Because we just sit in a dark room every Saturday night and drink some beers amongst each other. But for the average person, this is a fucking nightmare.
No, like, I love you guys, and I want to get...
I have so much fun with you in this episode. You seem to have so much fun. I'm glad you did. As a viewer, as a friend of the podcast, before being our friends, now formally, I love it. I don't know what you expect from this podcast. I don't know why you want more from this podcast.
So,
I know originally it was Lloyd, right?
No, not even necessarily then. Like, so, like, the Nerd Down or whatever, dude, I drove across the country from...
To Montana to get COVID?
Essentially, to Montana, big sky country, way fucking up north. to get COVID and then drive down like.
But getting COVID was not a priority.
No, but like, dude, I have to figure out fucking 16 hours. So I listen to your motherfuckers like podcasts like a lot through then. So like, dude, it was great. Like,
You like it? Do you have any notes? What do you like?
Yeah, what do you not like?
Yeah, what do you not
I feel like
like?
we don't get enough like
Feedback.
I have
Valentin is the only one that gives us.
Yeah, I have like 3-4 people that I know that speak about it like consistently, and like they never tell me anything negative. I'm like, it's okay to tell me stuff that's wrong.
No. So I really enjoyed talking about fucking Dr. Stone and, dude, driving from like, I cannot stress this enough. Like, dude, I drove from Dr. Stone from fucking Canada to El Paso. Do you guys see how big of a fucking space it is?
it's like 12 hours.
Yeah, you took a crazy road trip. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm listening to you guys, and I'm like, oh my god, this shit, like, makes sense. Like, you guys aren't hyping it up to the sense to where, like, it's not just like...
We're not gatekeeping stuff.
Yes, exactly that. Like, I can listen to it and be like, you know what? These guys are telling me exactly the power systems, no matter what the case might be. And then when it fucking peaks, I know exactly what's going to happen.
Right.
Cool. So then that's like me fucking in fucking Montana, butt country of the United States, driving back down to El Paso, listening to you guys, to fucking Dr. Stone. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm listening to you guys, and oh shit, all this shit makes sense. Like,
I don't even, did we have any controversial points during Dr. Stone?
No.
I feel like it's because
The one girl that is sick, the princess, she's hot, looking sick, and she's dying.
no, like all that shit made sense. And I'm purely talking about this from a purely
Listener point of view.
Like, dude, I drove alone. Like, I'm fucking on my deathbed from COVID. So in case the listeners don't know, I got really sick with COVID up in Montana.
Because you were in an FBI mission or something like that, right?
Well, not really, but essentially, yeah. Like, so in Montana, fucking, of all the fucking places in the United States, I drove down by myself from about 60 miles south of the Canadian border from fucking Ontario, Canada.
Ontario.
with 60 miles is a whole lot of nothing. You were basically in Canada.
So
Yeah.
I drove from fucking Canada to the United States, which is El Paso, by myself, and I listened to nothing, literally nothing but Between the Nerds podcast.
Hell yeah.
And that shit fucking helped me get through my sanity. And I listened to fucking Bakako, like, be like, oh my god, like, maybe this shit isn't the most impressive thing ever. Like, maybe Midoriya actually has something to fucking talk about.
Yep.
And so I listened to that, and then I listened to like a lot of your guys' podcast, and that guy's really, really helped me to keep my sanity. And then like driving through everything, I was like, you know what? These motherfuckers actually know what they're talking about.
What you pointed out to me last week was like, our listeners are listening to us to kill time.
Right.
It's
We are content creators at the end of the day.
yeah.
You're right, and you're absolutely right, dude.
And I feel like we didn't realize that till recently.
Yeah, till recently, exactly. It hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, people are listening to us in their leisure time.
Right. Like, it's like I literally lift furniture during the day to pay my bills, and I need something to listen to waste that time.
And
So
we are spending our money gaming time or our life time to give you your leisure listening time.
Yeah, so like, dude, I'm driving through fucking Grand Tetons National Park, which, rest in peace, Gabby fucking Petito, like, died through that.
Oh.
But dude, I drove through that by myself. I'm driving down.
Hold on, don't skip by that. Why
Yeah,
you bring
he
up
just-
that name? Can you give some context to the listeners in case they don't know who Gabby was?
Okay, so Gabby Petito, god damn.
She was engaged.
She was driving with her boyfriend
To
through-
some guy that kind of looks like you, if I'm noticing now.
She was a Florida native. Her boyfriend was also from Florida. They white people shit. They got the idea to van
Right.
across the country.
Yeah, so essentially they're driving through fucking the Grand Canyon fucking National Tetons, and she goes missing, right?
Yeah. Which, like any murder documentary you've ever seen, it's always the significant other. Like
It's always a Florida guy.
80%. It's always a Florida guy. And it's always the significant other. Like 80% of the time, it's the people that care about you most that are gonna fucking murder you and bury you in the middle of nowhere.
Right. And so, like, this dude's family is like, he gets back into town, and they're like, I don't know what happened to him.
Like, imagine you go out of town for 3 months with your girlfriend. You just show
And
up
you
back
come
in
back
Florida.
with no girlfriend?
Yeah, you go back with no girlfriend. I don't know what happened to her, bro.
Oh, she's missing?
She's missing? Where'd she go?
It's
What
like-
happened?
It's like, I fucking get back to El Paso, and, like, my parents-in-law, which are my actual parents, are like, hey, what happened to your fucking fiance? And I'm like, you know what? I don't know.
I don't know, dude.
I don't know. No sé. No sé. Se cayó. No sé.
Se cayó.
Se cayó. But honestly, that's essentially what happens. And so, like...
Happy Hispanic Heritage Month.
And so, like, all this shit happens, and, like... Dude, I'm fucking dying on COVID on my deathbed, and I'm like, you know what? This chick got fucking murdered.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, she got murdered. And I think that's the wildest thing. Because, like, I've heard... there have been certain, like, elected officials that are highlighting that, like, why don't brown and black women, when they disappear, get this kind of thing. I get that. Don't get me wrong. This is totally, like, the white woman trapped in the well kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But at that
Little
same...
Susie fell in the well.
Right, but at that same point, like, this is such, like, an open and shut case. It's like, dude, she went out of town with her boyfriend. Her boyfriend showed up with no girlfriend, and she's missing.
Who's the main suspect?
Yeah.
The dog.
You know what's even worse is that the family was like, you know what? I don't know what happened to him.
He's missing. Did you know that?
Yeah, they're looking for him. It's a manhunt for this dude.
That dude's alive. You know that.
Yeah, he knows he did it.
You know that guy's alive.
But yeah, bro, that dude's definitely alive.
Dude, this guy fucking got his fiance into this fucking Sprinter van, and somehow she's not turned up.
Why did he engage to her if he was just gonna murder her anyways?
Okay, so
imagine like wanting to like murder the person you're gonna marry. Like,
the caveat to that is, why are the parents hiding him?
Well, it seems like the in-laws are clueless as the girlfriend was
They're not
because she
fucking
got
clueless.
murdered.
Dude, the in-laws are not clueless to that shit.
you really think like they were in on it?
It's because white people...
100%.
That was their daughter.
Not the in-laws. Not just like the
It's
dude.
because WPS white people shit. It's just so weird. Like, I wouldn't be surprised that the in-laws don't have a clue of what the fuck is going on.
Dude, so, like, my brother...
Hashtag WPS.
WPS. My brother is engaged to this woman
A white woman.
who is... Her family is, like, tied into the FBI. Like, if this chick went missing, like, dude, we know where to look, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If I fucking got engaged with the girl and I was like, you know what? I love this girl no matter what. I'm gonna fucking get on one knee and marry her.
And then murder her later.
Yeah, like, dude, my family wouldn't know what the fuck is going on.
And that's what I'm saying.
And then if I'm like, you know what? If I go to the fucking Grand Tetons in the fucking Grand Canyon of all fucking things, like,
A simple push.
yeah, like, oh my god, she fell.
Yeah.
What do I do?
Oh,
now?
she fell in the cliff, and I forgot to report her missing.
Dude, have you ever been to Grand Tetons?
No.
Nope. I would love to.
It's a fucking... It's everything. You stay. Everything else.
It's man-made, right? Jeff Bezos made the Grand Canyon?
No.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm just saying, like, dude, there's so much shit to fucking hide in there.
But...
And then the family is like, you know what? We're not gonna fucking hide anything. They're obviously hiding everything. Like,
No, absolutely. Like, that was my original point. Is like, I think why it's such a big deal nationally. It's such an open and shut case because the dude's literally missing because they know he did it. So it's just like, it's almost like it's like blasphemy how obvious it is.
this motherfucker did it. Like, there's no other way around it. Like, I'm not just like, you know what? Hey, Drew, I met you a couple weeks ago. Do you want to go camp?
No, fuck no. There's no way you're gonna murder me in the middle of nowhere.
You know what? Let's just say, like,
We're
you
not
said
gonna go
yes.
camp.
Let's just say you said yes.
Let's
To
just
go
say.
camp. Let's just say.
Uh-huh.
And you went to go camp, and I'm like, oh, damn, that was a great night camping.
I can't wait to murder him.
I'm gonna propose to him and then murder.
And I'm like, oh my god, Drew, I'm fucking obsessed with your fucking cock. Like, let's just fucking murder you. And then I wake up and I'm like, hey.
Has anybody ever been obsessed with your cock, Drew? Just like Roby was.
I have a girlfriend who's been with me for 2.5 years. That's the closest I've gotten to anything like that.
Cool.
Roby.
I hope it's my personality.
I hope it's my
I
personality.
hope it's my
And
personality.
not my cock. And not my throbbing cock.
I hope it's not my giant throbbing cock. And I hope it's my personality.
But in other...
Holy shit, dude! You are like the funniest person we've ever had on this. Jesus Christ.
It's like,
Jesus Christ, you're like the funniest person we've ever had on this fucking podcast.
And in other Nintendo news, like, we got the Nintendo Super Mario movie coming up with homophobic Chris Pratt.
Isn't Chris Pratt like super homophobic?
Bro,
Like-
he left his wife because his religion told him that it's wrong to leave your wife.
Dude, the thing about Mario is like a video game perspective. He's
And the original voice to Mario is still in the cast.
Yes.
God damn it.
It makes zero sense. The only one that makes sense is the Luigi one.
Absolutely. Charlie Day.
Yeah, it's
I
Charlie
love
Day
him.
from fucking
Sunny.
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia as Luigi, which is like, Jesus Christ, that could not be funnier.
And then Keenan Peele. The guy from the show, he's doing Toad.
And Seth
Perfect.
Rogen as Bowser. That one makes no sense.
No, he's not Bowser. He's Donkey Kong.
That makes less sense.
No.
That makes less sense. That makes less. But then Jack Black as Bowser. That makes less sense.
No,
I love
it's good.
how shitty sense that makes.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's almost upsetting that, like, maybe in the Nintendo Direct, they totally did some casting work, right? So, like, maybe in the Nintendo Direct, they should have done, like, hey, here's an example of their voices, or whatever. All they did is they announced, like, the actors portraying the characters, and the rest of us were like, dude, that's fucking garbage. That's, like, literally the worst idea we've ever heard in our lives. And it's... The Nintendo, especially when it comes to the Nintendo Switch, because, like, the Nintendo Wii made a fuck ton of money.
Wait,
right?
we're done recording, right?
No, we're still talking.
We're still talking
a
about
bunch of shit, dog. So the Nintendo Wii made a bunch of money, right? The Nintendo Wii U made no fucking money.
Mm-hmm.
The Nintendo Switch is making good money.
Mm-hmm.
So it
The
almost
Switch is making so much goddamn money.
exactly. So it really seems like Nintendo's just like, we can just throw some random shit out there and sell some more Switch
It's
consoles.
doing the Ghibli jerk down on you.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So they're like, we'll just put high-powered actors in these super famous roles, and it'll be a successful movie. Illumination is like the most annoying animation studio in the US that could have hooked up with. Like, it's not even DreamWorks, like the real DreamWorks. It's not fucking Pixar. It's like, no, it's Illumination, the people that have made like 3 fucking flop
Films,
movies in a movie.
You know they don't give a fuck about, like, us, right?
They don't. They're trying to keep their IP in the public discourse.
The thing is, like, dude, Breath of the Wild's gonna open up. I'm like, oh my god, what the fuck? So then Breath of the Wild's gonna open up. And then all this shit's gonna fucking open up. And then they're gonna make this fucking amazing game. And then we're gonna be like, you know what? This could have this situation to be better. And they're not gonna listen to any of us.
Right.
And then they're gonna listen to all the shit that Breath of the Wild 2 could have been.
Right.
And then make a fucking better game than any of that shit.
So you don't think Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be good? Is that what you're telling me?
No, Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be amazing.
No, I agree. Aldo's been playing a fuck ton of Breath of the Wild 1 recently. I even bought him a copy of Okami, the game, which is historically, like, it's a game that was made exclusively by a dying video game production agency, but it was good because it was historically a Zelda ripoff.
Look,
Before we get into that, you guys want to hear something super sad?
What's up?
when I'm a very big Zelda fan. I love the games. I love completing everything. I love doing all the stuff. I took Breath of the Wild so seriously that I didn't want to go into Ganon's castle for the longest time until I had everything and I was prepared. And the fucking Ganon, it's so easy to fucking beat, dude.
Okay, so we're going to take this even further back.
It's harder to get to the chamber than fucking beating Ganon Calamity, bro.
Okay, so my favorite game of all time is Legend of Zelda.
Ocarina of Time.
Legend of Zelda X.
X? What?
Oh.
That's not a game. What are you talking
Yes,
about?
it
What
is.
are you talking about?
Legend of Zelda X.
Which is
What
what?
is that?
Oh.
I don't know. You tell me, Robbie. You're talking about it.
Google it.
No, you tell me about it. I'm Googling it for my own sake.
Why is it your favorite game?
Because it's so good, and the power system is so good. And then you do it, and you treat it, and then the fucking end game of it all fucking betrays you.
Why?
Because there's no further system after that.
X Fire Emblem?
No, Legend of Zelda.
X?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
The internet doesn't know what you're talking about, friend.
It's a story plot, but I don't know if it was a game.
One of my favorite games, like much of the reason that you're describing with whatever this magical Legend of Zelda X game is the Mass Effect series, because it was historically, it gave you a bunch of like options on actions to choose, and it was supposed to be that by the end of it you would the ending plot would lead up to the choices you had, right? But what sucked about Mass Effect 3 when it eventually came out was that none of those choices you made actually mattered, because they all funneled into one of two decisions, which sucks. You know what I mean? Like, if you have this investment as a player, it really, really sucks when the studio doesn't fulfill that bit right there. Mm-hmm. That the actions you were taking actually mattered.
Yeah, no, I can't wait for the 64 plugin. I love Donkey Kong 64.
Honestly, what's blowing my mind is that, so they have the NES, the SNES, the N64, the Sega Dreamcast, and they still do not have a plug for fucking Earthbound. You've played the fucking the brawl games, right? You've played Melee. You know who Ness is, right?
Yes.
He's from fucking Earthbound.
Oh, yes.
Wait,
yes.
Earthbound is this like historically super remote.
Wait, are you still recording?
Yeah.
Yes.
Pause. Because
Why?
we're gonna get into Legends deeper than this.
Okay.
Give me a bit. Let me go take a piss.
Go take a piss, friend.
Go take a piss, friend. So Robbie just got back from his pee break. And yeah, apparently there was like a Legend of Zelda PS2 game that was made and also remastered for PS3. How did that happen? I have no idea. It reminds me of this current situation with Ditko, the creator of Spider-Man. Well, not the creator of Spider-Man. The illustrator of Spider-Man throughout the comic books. It's given Disney and Marvel Studios a cease and desist lawsuit for the character.
The family of the Ditko legacy is suing Marvel to get the rights
Royalties.
back. Yeah, the royalties back. Thank you. And that's
It's fair.
I don't know.
Fair. I feel like it's fair.
Legal rights usages always confuse the shit out of me.
If you guys try to use my fucking Between Nerds brand, I'm gonna go after you with all that I have.
We've got $10. and speaking about like future episodes of Between Nerds podcast, this upcoming week we will be watching Fruits Basket. the most recent 2018 reiteration, season 1. Just season 1. There's
Rachel, just season 1, Rachel.
There's 3 25 episode seasons of Fruits Basket that started in 2018, and we will be having Rachel Eves with an underscore at the end as a guest for our next episode. I started watching episodes 1 through 5 last night. I got home a little sleepy from Yu-Gi-Oh! Locals.
From beating up nerds.
And I honestly, I feel like, personally, between me and Aldo, like, when Aldo brought this up, he's like, hey, I really want to have Rachel for an episode. Like, she knows a lot about anime.
I thought
She's
you
really
brought it
passionate.
up.
You brought up...
I thought you were the one that wanted to have Rachel here.
No, you brought it up. And then you agreed to watching Fruits Basket. And then once you told me that, I was like, fuck, I do not want to watch Fruits Basket, like, in any way. But, you know, I'm like 4 or 5 episodes in. And
you love that shit. I don't know why
okay.
you were
It's
so
okay.
hesitant.
It's not that bad. It's like, my initial feelings about it is like, what have we watched recently that has a lot of fan service? Like, what, Konosuba?
Maybe.
So Konosuba has very specific fan service that's just like upskirt shots, boobs, butt cracks, like shit for like dudes, right? The thing about Fruits Basket is that it's specifically directed for women. So the
dick shots, bulges.
No, but see, that's the thing. The fan service is a lot more like subtle and tame, so it's just like, here's a really handsome guy brooding, here's another really handsome guy who's also his cousin, and he's also like just brooding amongst himself, which is just like,
and they have big bulges.
I have yet to see it, but I am assuming the subtext is there, you know what I mean? Because like, it's just it's funny, the difference in like how you fan service like your audiences.
Stuff. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I don't even know. Have you been watching anything nerdy this past week, Mr. Roby?
Do you have any plugs? Do you wanna address?
What's your Twitter? What do you want to plug anything? Your social media?
Do you want to address any concerns?
My Twitter is a lot of bullshit that I think is hilarious, and people don't think it's hilarious.
That's a long username.
What's he at?
At Roby Quintela.
Ooh, Roby Quintela.
Here's the thing, like, I will fucking talk about shit that I think is important, and if people don't, that's cool too. And if they do or don't, that's not actually my problem or not.
Yeah, it's nobody's problem.
Yeah, I actually, like, I link a lot of shit that's hilarious. That's to a lot of non-obscure users, or a lot of users that are actually very obscure, and they're like, oh my god, this might make me feel uncomfortable or not. I actually don't give a shit.
Good. You shouldn't.
I just tweet what I want to tweet, and people like it or they don't.
No, good.
But
Absolutely.
Mr. Roby Quintela, thank you so much for being in this episode 62 of Between Nerds. Nerds, you have a blessed day. Take care.
This has been Between
Nerds.
Peace.